Hell yeah.
All right. Hello, everybody. And yes, it's a Monday night. We have a special Black Spinner Circle episode today for Halloween. This is going to be our Halloween Spooktacular. And what we are going to be doing here, we are going to be giving our top 10 evil, scary Halloween themed songs. I am expecting a wide variety. And I know that most of the time we do our five honorable mentions. This time we're going to do our five scariest album covers. So that's going to be fun. Joining me today is Joseph Staub. How's it going, Joseph?
Doing good. Thanks for having me on again, as always.
Oh man, thanks for saying yes. You were always a delight. And also joining us today from the International House of Vinyl and from Vinyl Street. I think it's Kate, but I'm not too sure.
Howdy.
The great Kate Doreen. How's it going, Kate?
Good. How are you guys?
Great. And as always, I'm the great Al Horta from Be Cool or Be Podcast Out.
How are you guys?
Tonight. We are doing all right.
Ooh, scaredy.
So spooky.
So we are going to be counting down from 10, 9, and we'll go on our way down to our favorite spooky Halloween themed evil song. Whatever it's going to be, it's going to be. I did not add whatever happened to my Transylvania twist. I didn't add that song to my list. So, without further ado, let's get started. Joseph, what are you going to start off with at number 10?
Alrighty, number 10, an absolute classic, absolutely, and it was used very well in a more 2000s horror remake of a 70s classic that's going to feature another song later on my list, and that is "God of Thunder" by Kiss. I mean,
nice.
Just such an evil kind of vibe about this song. And of course, the movie I was talking about was Rob Zombie's Halloween. It's on the soundtrack for that movie. And, I mean, just the whole demonic overtones of this song. Gene Simmons' demon character personified. Bob Ezrin making the great decision to take that song away from Paul Stanley and give it to Gene Simmons. And his kids in the background just sound absolutely evil. And it's just such a cool, dark, demonic song. Perfectly fits the Halloween vibe. And it was one that almost made my list, but the album that song is featured on almost made my cover for this just looks so creepy and evil. I mean, the ruins in the background. And I mean, even the original cover, the red cover with the actual burning everything in the background looked even cooler.
Mm-hmm.
But this almost made my list of evil album covers.
Yeah, I can see why, because they kind of look kind of crazy psychos, kind of, you know? Yeah, that's true. What are you going to start off with, Kate? What's number 10 on your list?
My number 10, I went with Warren Zevon, Werewolves of London. It's just a ridiculous song. I love any campy, weird songs like that, so that one's a lot of fun. That one's off his 78 album, Excitable Boy.
Would y'all say that was his biggest hit?
Yeah.
It's up there for sure. Yeah. It's way up there.
Yeah, because that's about the only one that they really played on the radio.
I hear Lawyers, Guns, and Money on the radio too. Once in a while. Not as much as that one, no.
Yeah, it's funny because they'll play Werewolves London like all the time. It won't even be Halloween time, and they'll play it.
Yeah. That's true.
That's a classic, man.
Yeah, it really is. I've always heard great things about Warren Zevon, but I've never had the time. I've never taken the time to really dig into discography.
Mm-hmm.
That's one thing. You know, there's a handful of artists that are great and world renowned, but I just don't take the time to really dig into them.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, it's tough. What do you start off with?
I'm gonna start off with Ministry. Every Day is Halloween. This was before they became like kind of industrial metal. It was when they were still they sounded like Depeche Mode, more like that. You know, I think Al Jorgensen even kind of dismisses the first two albums. He doesn't really acknowledge them anymore. But I mean, every time I hear this song, it's perfect for Halloween. the college radio station that up in New Jersey that I always listen to, WSOU. They're awesome, man. Like I've been streaming them like this Halloween season again, and because they always do like Halloween theme songs like every hour, and like that's one of the songs they play all the time, and I think it's a cool song. It's not metal or anything. It's before, like I said, before it became metal, but it's got a cool like groove beat to it, and the lyrics, really cool. So that's my number 10. Every Day is Halloween by Ministry.
It's kind of hard to picture Ministry being anything else from what they are now.
Yeah,
yeah. Like they extreme industrial metal.
Yeah. But as the late '80s, I think they started going in that direction, like the Land of Rape and Honey, like that album.
Right.
They started incorporating the heavy guitars in there. But the first couple albums are really kind of more, like I said, Depeche Mode and like that kind of vibe to it, with the beats, the danceable beats and all that stuff. So, and this is definitely one of them. Every Day's Halloween. So Ministry. So.
Yeah, and I remember when they first came out, I would hear that. I was like, oh, that's okay. And then like a few years later, I heard them again. I was like, wait a minute. Is this the same band? I mean, it's completely different.
Yeah.
It's like they kind of started their own genre and just broke down barriers and just did whatever they wanted.
Yeah.
Which is really, really cool. I'm going to start off. I don't know how spooky or scary people might think this is, but I think it's off of this album here by Queensryche.
Oh, okay.
Mind Crime. I'm going to start off with Eyes of a Stranger.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's a pretty cool song. I like that.
Definitely like the way it starts off, kind of the intro to it. Yeah, it's got this creepy vibe to it.
Yeah, it does. And, you never know who might be lurking out there. All right, guys. I mean, you don't know. It's weird. My wife and I watch a lot of Datelines, and it's kind of creepy sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
All right, what's your number 9 track?
Alrighty, so I'll go ahead and just do my number 9 real quick because Kate already mentioned it, and that is Werewolves of London. I mean, any song that name drops both Lon Chaney and Lon Chaney Jr. There you go.
Yeah, dude.
It's such a fun, ridiculous song.
His hair was perfect.
Kate, what's your number 9?
My next one is going to be Alice Cooper. So that's what inspired the makeup, but I know it turned out more like The Crow or Ghost or something. But it
I like the
Feed My Frankenstein.
Yeah.
You got to go with that. That's a cover, though. That's funny because I never realized it's a cover, but it's a band called Zodiac Mind Warp.
Yes. Yeah.
And I never realized it was a cover till I looked it up for this. And I just always think of it. It's such an iconic thing because of Wayne's World when they go to see him. So like that would have been a wild tour to go to.
Yeah, so tell me more about this band that did it originally.
Zodiac Mind Warp. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Kate. It's Zodiac Mind Warp and the Love Reaction, a group formed in '85, British hard rock group. That's all I know. I want to look them up now, though. They look cool. I was looking at stuff.
I know
wiki.
I know a little bit about them. They're like in the late '80s. They were right when they were starting to get known and starting to gain some traction. Was right in that like that little
late '80s metal window.
The little hallway that like between the '80s and '90s when grunge took over. They were in that little like from 1990, 89, 90, 91.
Mm-hmm.
When these bands were starting to come up, and then all of a sudden the grunge gate came crashing down.
Yeah, grunge blocked all the metal.
But they were not glam. They weren't really like glam. They were kind of had the singer almost kind of had like almost was like kind of an early version of they were almost kind of like Gutter, like kind of like taking what Guns N' Roses did and taking it even more further.
Mm-hmm.
But the singer even kind of had like. I thought of him kind of as a precursor to like Rob Zombie a little bit, like in White Zombie days. I think he had like dreads and
they look cool. He's all like, I don't know. He's got a bunch of leather and like a big beard and wears sunglasses.
Definitely check them out, man, because they're a really good band. They got lost in that shuffle, man. But
and then and like they have someone as huge as Alice Cooper cover your song, then you're lost to the ages forever. Because everyone, I always thought that was his song. I never knew that was a cover.
Yeah.
But he did that cover in 92, so you can imagine if they came out in like 85, if that was on one of their first or second album, then they're just lost to eternity.
Yeah.
Wow. Interesting. Al, what's your number 9?
Well, that's funny that Kate brings up Alice Cooper, because the dilemma is which Alice Cooper song are you gonna pick?
I know that was hard because he's the king of shock rock. Like, how do you pick?
Yeah, if you're
How
gonna
do you pick one song of his is hard.
Yeah, so I'm going with "Welcome to My Nightmare."
Nice.
Going
Yeah,
that one.
That was what I was going back and forth between, but then I was thinking how much I know it from being obsessed with Wayne's World.
Yeah. Yeah, "Welcome to My Nightmare." I mean, I remember the beginning of that always creeped me out as a kid. You know, just the vibe and the atmosphere of it. You know, and the way Alice kind of sings it, like in kind of a low, kind of like just
growly register,
almost like a whisper in a way. And I think that's like a good song to put on a Halloween playlist. So it's definitely like on my playlist. So
good.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go with Alice Cooper, "Welcome to My Nightmare." That's that's number 9, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
My number 9 is going to have this song's going to have an intro. The intro is the best. The intro goes into the song, and the intro is pretty creepy. It's going to be off of Motley Crue's second album.
Yeah.
There's the original front of it. I loved it like that, and then
I love that cover, man.
Of course, they put these in there. Got the cassette with those for, but man, the pentagram on top. And then you come out to find out a little later on it might have been a hoax, but whatever. But the track "The Beginning" going into "Shout at the Devil."
Yeah, in the beginning,
really good intro to "Shout at the Devil."
Definitely.
So that's my number 9, "In the Beginning," going into "Shout at the Devil."
Good pick.
Nice. That's definitely I remember always my brother. That was the first album I heard by the Crew because my brother had the cassette, and I remember putting that on from the beginning and hearing "In the Beginning," and I was like, I would freak me out a little bit, man. It's like an 11-year-old, 12-year-old kid.
Yeah.
Pretty creepy, man. So
that was the first Motley Crue album I heard too, but I really got attached to "Theater of Pain" because that one I really.
Yeah.
I went to the store and I bought it and stuff like that. So, but yeah, my number 9, it was going to be "Shout at the Devil." Number 8, Joseph.
Alrighty, well, I guess I'll keep the old Alice Cooper train rolling here. And like you guys said, there's so many ones you could pick, but the first one that jumped out to me when I was thinking about this list, I mean, just the opening line of the song. "These words he speaks are true. We're all human Aries stew if we don't pledge allegiance to the Black Widow."
Yeah.
I mean, just the kind of outro to Devil's Food with Vincent Price doing the speech and then into the Black Widow. Oh, it's just such a cool kind of creepy song. Of course, anything that has Vincent Price involved in it is instantly going to be classic.
Well, I'll mention something else with Vincent Price talking on it.
I figured someone would mention something else with Vincent Price.
Yeah, that's gotta be on someone's list, but we'll leave that alone.
We'll get there. But yeah, so my Alice Cooper pick is the Black Widow.
All great Alice Cooper picks, man.
Yeah,
all great.
Yeah.
That's a great one, Joe. That's a great one.
I mean, he really is the perfect, Halloween artist.
And now that I'm actually thinking about it, I mean, I should have put Alice Cooper near the top of my list, to be honest with you. But they're all great songs, man.
Yeah, I was gonna say mine really aren't in any particular order or anything.
Yeah. So. Can't beat the king of shock rock. I mean, he's a Halloween all the time.
Yeah,
it's what he's doing.
That's what he does.
And he's still killing it live, man.
Exactly. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, I've seen him live twice, and both times were awesome. Yeah. Like, he just still is so good live.
Yeah, he really is.
Well, here's the thing: like in the 70s, he looked like he was like 70 anyway.
Yeah,
so it's like he hasn't aged.
Yeah,
it's
so funny.
The only time he ever really aged to a point where he looked bad was the blackout years.
Yes. Because he was so fucked up.
Yeah, the shaved head and all that. Oh,
yeah,
so
that's
bad.
not good. Yeah. My dad met him. My dad, I've talked about it before on the pod, but my dad was friends and graduated with one of the local radio DJs. And she got him backstage when he was here. He opened $1 Billion Babies in Detroit. My dad said he's exactly like how he acts in Wayne's World, that he just is that down to earth and well educated, well spoken. So it's just
Right.
so funny to think about
He's
him
a smart
being
dude.
such a maniac. Yeah, I used to listen to his radio show a lot when he was out in Arizona. I would listen to his radio show because
Hmm.
they'd put it on the local radio station here in
I think
Detroit.
they just canceled it.
Yeah,
Because they played
yeah.
it on my local station too.
Yeah,
Wow.
he is so fun.
Well, I didn't even know he had his own radio.
Yeah. You probably could look it up on YouTube, but yeah, he just was
Yeah,
doing
look it up.
DJ. He just was DJing and would talk about songs or talk about people he knew in the industry, and then he'd be playing music. It was, yeah, it was good.
Interesting.
Mhm.
Very interesting.
Mhm.
Especially when you get these like icons of music and they share what they
know.
think about music. It is so awesome.
Yeah,
You know,
it's
'cause
so
they're
cool because
fans just like
he's
us.
been doing it forever, so he knows everyone. And like
Yeah.
he just had that tour. I missed it when it was in Detroit, but he's on tour with Rob Zombie. I mean, what a perfect duo! And like
Yeah.
that's probably one of Rob Zombie's biggest heroes, and now Rob Zombie's playing with him. That would be so cool.
Yeah. Yeah, that is. I saw him with when Motley Crue did their farewell tour.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Then again, when he opened up for Deep Purple.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I saw both those tours.
Yeah.
And
They
then I've
blew
seen
away Motley Crue, but man, Deep Purple was so good the night I saw them.
Deep
Yeah.
Purple is
So good.
awesome. I saw him here with Judas Priest, and both were phenomenal.
Yeah, they stick.
Yeah,
I mean, these dudes. Oh well, just to get away from this real quick, these guys are like
yeah,
between 70s and 80, and
yeah.
being 80 years old. That decade of 70s. That's crazy that they still do this, tour the world, and go do shows every other.
Mhm.
That's just
Yeah.
amazing how they still do that. All right, we are number 8.
Yep.
Is that correct?
Yep.
Joseph, did you do your number 8 already?
Yeah, mine was Alice Cooper.
Yeah, he did Alice Cooper. My number 8 is going to be the title track off Number of the Beast, Iron Maiden.
Yeah.
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 Oh yeah.
Maiden, I mean, I saw him for the first time last year. That is one of the most incredible stage shows you'll ever see. It's completely worth going to see them. Even still, Bruce Dickinson's voice is phenomenal. All the guys still are super tight in the band. I mean, just such a killer show to see. It's wild. Yeah.
And they give it their all every single.
Oh man, it was just insane to watch someone with 2 flamethrowers, and then he has to holster a flamethrower to get the mic back to sing part of the song. I think that one's for Icarus, but it's just so funny to watch that. And it's like this dude's like 70 and he's running around like a maniac. He looks incredible. His voice is still great. Like it's a hell of a stage show, and even just without the stage show, the band is incredible to see.
Yeah, but I was just saying this like last week on the BS sessions, how Iron Maiden gives their fans so much on packaging, and that their album covers aren't just album covers. The album covers go together with what's inside.
And telling a story too, to like have
so cool.
Yeah, they're thematic.
Yeah.
And some of the most iconic looking album covers.
Oh,
we'll get to that.
Yeah,
we'll get to that for our honorable mentions. But that,
sure all 4 of us are going to have amazing albums.
Yeah,
is what I'm guessing. But which ways are we going to go? Because there's so many.
I know it's hard to decide this. But that was like, it was a tough call. I was trying to decide between this and Judas Priest, because I was like, Priest, like Electric Eye is pretty good. I love how spooky that is. Like, I don't know, but I had to go with Maiden just because Maiden's such a icon and has so many costumes, and the whole stage show, everything's so fun.
And what they do with Eddie is just amazing. Number 8, Al.
All right, man. My number 8, I'm going to go with Boris the Spider by The Who. Yeah, dude. I mean, I always love that. To me, I always associate that song with Halloween. You know, creepy crawly, you know, and the way Entwistle sings the kind of Boris the Spider. You know, it's kind of pretty cool, man. So Yeah, Boris is Spider by The Who, man. I was struggling between that and another one, but not by The Who, but a different band.
Mm-hmm.
But
that's fun.
I don't know. I'll see maybe if I could. I'm still kind of.
Yeah, my first list was like 20 songs off the top of my head,
Yeah.
and then to narrow it down, I'm like, damn, I love Halloween so much. It's
Yeah,
hard to
I'm-
pick.
I'm still re-racking my list a little bit.
I know.
Yeah.
Because like when I thought about it with Maiden, and I said Judas Priest with Deep Purple, I'm like, shit, I should have picked a Judas Priest song too. But
Yeah.
it's all good. They're
See,
still all awesome. There's so many good choices.
I'm kind of hoping somebody picks some of my songs so I can take them out and put something else
And you
in.
can talk about them.
Yeah, Boris is Spider by The Who. I
Yeah,
love
that
song.
one's fun. I was thinking about that too.
So
Yeah,
that's my number 8.
My number 8 is going to be Dio, the title track off of Dream Evil.
Oh, nice.
Mm-hmm.
You know, sometimes, you know.
Great album cover too, man.
Yeah, especially when you look under the bed and it's the rest of the demon that's at the window watching her sleep. And it's just a little girl, dude. It's just creepy, man. But the song Dream Evil is a really good track there.
Yeah.
It's light.
It's awesome.
I don't know
man.
if y'all can see that, but
Yeah, we could see it. Yeah, Dream Evil. I was looking up like just for the hell of it the other day. I was looking up like album covers and stuff, and that one popped up. I was like, that's a really good one, man. You know, whether it makes my list or not remains to be seen. But
you know,
I'm just saying.
Talk a lot. You know, we talk a lot about Eddie, but Murray is just as iconic on those album covers.
Yeah, Murray's cool, dude.
Yep. Very nice. Joseph, what's your number 7, buddy?
Alrighty, so just for Kate, I'll pick a Judas Priest song.
Thank you.
And I always like to call this the best song off Turbo that wasn't on Turbo, and that is "Touch of Evil" off Painkiller.
Oh yeah,
Such a cool, creepy, heavy song with the cool keyboard riff, and Halford is just going crazy on that song with the double track vocals. With the lower register, and then you hear the really high kind of shrieks in the background, and it's just such a cool way they produce it. The way they produce that song, he was in the prime of his vocal career right there on that album, and just his vocals layered, and just the orchestration of it all. It's just so evil, and it's just heavy, and it's so great.
Yeah, and that has to be one of the great Judas Priest albums that people really don't mention, because that is from beginning to end just pure Judas Priest best. It is
even the music video for Turbo Lover, like, oh my god, I love their music videos. And Halford, that's another one, like you see them live even now and they still are killing it, just murderers. And I think about Halford's the same age as my dad, and he's out there in all his leather costumes, and just his voice is still insane. Love Judas Priest so much.
Yeah, but that Painkiller album was just amazing.
Oh yeah, just the song Painkiller, like Electric Eye. When you listen to any of that stuff, is like blows your mind. The guitar work on those and drums, everything on that, the drums and everything are just, oh man, so good.
It's weird because it's true about the Electric Eye. There's Electric Eyes everywhere we go now. Just driving down the street.
It was very prophetic thinking for the time, because there wasn't cameras everywhere like that.
Yeah, that song
exactly.
That song came out in '82.
And off of one of my favorites by them, I love "Screaming for Vengeance" from beginning to end.
Oh man, yeah,
great album. That might even be my favorite. All right, Kate, what are you gonna be doing?
I wouldn't have a list if I didn't include Talking Heads, so I had to put Psycho Killer.
Yeah.
Talking Heads 77. I mean, what a weird song to come out with when you're trying to break into whatever they were going to end up being. If you can imagine, this is their first album, and to have a very bizarre song and a creepy song, and then he's speaking French and stuff. I mean, what a crazy band. And then to be, I don't really put them in a certain genre. Like Talking Heads are their own thing, you know?
Yeah.
And
every song is like its own thing.
And every song can't be put into a genre, really. I mean, they're kind of, I don't know. That's just such a crazy band. So that's why I like them so much. But I love Psycho Killer. it's spooky, especially at the time, to have a weird song like that and have like a song addressing kind of mental illness stuff is really interesting to me for the time period, but it holds the test of time too. It's still relevant and you still hear it on the radio.
Yeah.
And this stuff with them right now where they're going around and doing these interviews and I'm like, oh my God, I'll sell a kidney if they go on tour. I would do anything to see them live. They just were on Colbert on Wednesday. Even if you don't like Colbert, check out that interview because it was cool because they're talking to all four of them. And he's good about interviewing all four of them, which would be difficult. And he's a huge Talking Heads nerd. So it's funny to watch him nerd out where he loves them. So he is so excited. And you need to check out, I haven't gotten to see it yet in the theater, but they totally remastered that. And all the soundtracking has been remastered for Stop Making Sense. So if you can get to the theater and go see it and it's in 4K like that, I can't wait to go. I just haven't had time, but that's another costume idea. I have the big suit on deck. So hopefully that'll occur soon. But I'm, huge Talking Heads nerd. So I had to have this on my list.
Hey, so that song Spooktacular, which I'm a big fan of, I think it's a great song. It came out in 77 because it's called Talking Heads 77.
Yeah, Talking Heads 77.
And I'm not too sure if y'all know this, but the Son of Sam that
Robert Rodriguez, is that the guy's name?
No, it's no, it's Berkowitz, right?
That's right, David Berkowitz, right?
Yeah.
You're right.
Was 78, right?
Yeah.
That was a year later. Okay.
Such a crazy. That's a really wild case study. Holy shit! But yeah,
all these serial killers all have some kind of case study. Just yesterday, I was watching the Night Prowler one about Ramirez, who was in the mid.
Richard Ramirez.
That's who I'm thinking of when I said that. Yeah, not Robert. Yeah.
In L.A.
Mm-hmm.
Well, actually, I didn't know this, but he also did some killings in San Fran. He went back and forth.
Yeah, back and forth.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
Man, that's
we could have a whole ep on serial killers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Berkowitz.
Yeah,
holy shit. Yeah, that's crazy.
I mean, that's what's scary to me. That's why I like Friday the 13th movies, because Jason is a serial killer. And it's real. It's a real.
That's, I think, stuff like movies like did you guys ever see The Collector? That one's really nuts. And like Human Centipede, that one's crazy. That one's probably the best scary movie that's been out in like the last 20 years, in my opinion. But the like Silence of the Lambs or something, to me, is so much scarier because it's real, based off a real story. That one's like way creepier than any of the like Saw or any of that bullshit.
Yeah, instead of a bunch of blood, I like to see the what can really...
I'm more into like Hitchcock horror, where it's like you don't see it, and it's my mind makes it so much scarier than like watching somebody's eyeball be dug out or something.
But I just love to see the way that Jason Voorhees comes with these different
so menacing. I
thought of that.
Yeah, that's like all the Halloweens, like him, like it's just so much more menacing to have some big masked scary guy coming at you.
Yeah, but same thing with with Mike Myers also being known as a serial killer. You know, that's kind of creepy.
That's some big huge guy in a mask is so spooky.
Yeah, and speaking of, I was reading a post that Joseph Staub is going to be on the Rock All Over You podcast talking about John Carpenter movies.
Oh, nice. Yeah, Carpenter
is so
good.
Yeah. So that's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
So keep that up. I will also post it.
And a composer, like, he just was on something. He might have just been on like Colbert or something. I just watched an interview with him and thinking of him as a composer. And speaking of like Halloween music, obviously, like he composed for all those. And to think of him not only directing, but being this composer. And he's talking in the interview about how much he preferred composing and what iconic themes for these horror movies that could just, you hear it and you get a tingle down your spine. Like, what a brilliant man.
Yeah,
So crazy.
because that theme song
Yeah.
by Wayne is creepy as hell.
Oh
It
man,
really
yeah.
is
Yeah.
iconic, just like the
Oh,
Friday
it
13th.
gives you chills. You hear it and you just immediately have that like hair
Yeah.
standing on end reaction to it.
Yeah, and
Genius.
to think that he's the
Yeah.
one that, I mean, that's his baby, so that's awesome.
I'll find it. I'll find that interview. I think it might have been on Colbert, but it was
I think
really
it
good because
was.
he's did you get to watch it?
Mhm.
He's talking about doing all the composing and I was like, "Oh shit, like I don't even think about that when I see those movies." And I'm like, "Wait,
Right,
he's an
exactly. You don't
incredible
think about the
composer
music.
too." Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah, that's true. Al, what's your number 7?
All right, my number 7. I'm going with Pet Cemetery by the Ramones.
Mm.
You gotta have that on there, man.
Yep.
That's a classic.
Yep.
remember-
I'm glad you got it because it was on my long list and I cut it.
Yeah. Great movie, you know, and I think we just watched it with Kayla the other night. She was a little
Ah,
freaked out by
it's so
it,
weird.
you know. And the guy that played what was it
The old man.
Herman Munster? Yeah, Fred Gwynn.
Fred Gwynn.
He's pretty
Mhm.
creepy in that, man.
Mhm.
You know,
Perfect for the role. Perfect casting.
perfect for the role, man. Yeah. So yeah, Pet Sematary, the Ramones. I love the Ramones, and I remember this song coming out. Well, the movie came out when I was in high school. I think it was what 87 that came out. I think so, somewhere around there. And yeah, great movie, great song, great band.
Mm-hmm.
Love them, man. Number 7, that's my pick.
It's a good pick.
Cool.
Thank you.
This has already been talked about by Joseph, but I absolutely love God of Thunder on this Destroyer album.
Mhm.
Y'all are so right with that childlike choir in the background. You know, it's pretty cool. And
Yeah.
we got a friend named Paul Dillis who's been on our show.
Yeah.
He's the leader of a tribute band, and they're called Gods of Thunder.
Ah,
Out of the Washington State area, around up and down the West Coast.
There's
Nice.
I forgot to mention when I was talking about that song, one of my favorite versions of that song is off an album that most people cannot stand, and it's the Kiss Symphony version. I love the version of specifically of God of Thunder on that album because the symphony adds so much kind of gravitas to that song. And then on like the bridge part where like the I am the Lord of the Wasteland part, Gene has this like vocal distortion and he's like it's probably like the best he's ever delivered that line. It's like he's shouting it. It's so cool.
Oh wow!
And it all just adds together, creates this really cool effect. And so that's one I completely forgot to mention it when I was talking about that song, but that's one of my favorite. That and the studio version are both so good because you add something different to each version has something different. But I think not enough people have heard the Kiss Symphony version of God of Thunder. But if for nothing else, that's one of the reasons I recommend checking out that album.
Yeah, and I'm one of those that have never heard that. But you know, Gene, his early album songs. Correct me because you two are great Kiss fanatics. Were really menacing songs that he would do, and then did he get away from that or what? I mean,
well, even into the '80s, he had some pretty good kind of heavy menacing songs like "Not from the Innocent," "Young and
Not
Wasted."
from the Innocent. Yeah.
I mean, "Killer," "War Machine,"
Saint and Sinner.
Saint and Sinner. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, so a lot of his like the first 3 albums. A lot of his songs were kind of like all their songs. It was a lot about the streets, like that kind of stuff. So Cold Gin, just the kind of stuff he was singing about. But you really kind of, I always kind of say the Destroyer Rock and Roll over Love Gun period was when it was their comic book period. So it was like everything was kind of heightened. So God of Thunder, Almost Human,
King of the Nighttime World.
That's
a Paul song, but it's not actually. That's a cover, but
yeah. But it's kind of like their kind of heightened comic book character period. It's like Kiss if they were in like a Universal monster movie, basically.
Yeah.
So like you get a lot of those like really like traditional demon songs from that period.
Right. And then they were all kind of playing up to their character during that time.
Yeah.
Okay. It's funny that you mention that because those are my favorite albums by them, or those 3 there.
Yeah, Paul was more like the sex songs and
Mhm.
stuff like that. Gene was the more kind of like the more menacing kind of
Yeah, I mean,
demon. You know,
yeah,
Right.
Ace was more street. He had
yeah,
more like the street vibe, and Peter too. They
yeah,
were both like from the street, so they kind of both kind of shared, a little bit of that vibe.
Yeah.
Cold Gin. I mean, Ace wrote
yeah.
that, but I mean, Ace didn't start singing until Love Gun. But I mean, he wrote a lot of songs, up until then. I kind of wish he started singing earlier, but
Oh yeah.
he always said that he lacked the confidence, and whatever to do it.
Hey,
So
at least we got the Origins, Volume 1 and Volume 2
yeah,
tracks.
where he
So,
goes back and sings the songs that he wrote and stuff. So
Oh yeah, yeah. Because I do like those. I didn't know that he didn't sing those originally. Because I really do like those Origin albums that
well,
he
that,
did, one or two.
well, and then when he came out with Freely's Comet, then
Yeah.
when he would, live, he would sing those Kiss songs that he wrote
yeah.
that weren't his vocally, but
Sure.
he sang them. So
Well, even when he was still in Kiss on like the Unmasked tour, he and Gene split the vocals on Cold Gin.
oh, okay, yeah,
Like
yeah,
you watch like the Sydney show from 1980.
yeah,
Ace does the second verse and stuff.
yeah.
Okay. All right. Cool. All right. We're moving on. We're at what, number 6?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Joe, what's your number 6, man?
Alrighty, so this, I mean, the song itself has a really cool kind of horror movie vibe to it, but I think the music video really kind of points you in this direction. It kind of, like I mentioned, Universal Monsters, but this kind of points you towards like old silent movies and Universal Monsters, and that is Square Hammer by Ghost. I mean, what a kind of cool like throwback horror movie kind of song. And then you watch the music video, and it's them going to the premiere of this movie, of this old like silent horror movie, and
Yeah.
it's such a cool kind of like concept. And now every time I think of that song, that's what I kind of associate it with. So when I think of kind of cool Halloween songs, I mean, you could pick 100 different Ghost songs to pick for this list, but I always just kind of associate Square Hammer with those kind of nostalgic, kind of cool throwback horror movies.
Interesting. Kate, what's your number
That's a
6?
great pick, man.
My number 6 is Season of the Witch by Donovan.
Oh yeah.
Classic.
I love Donovan, so I had to get something with him. This is off Sunshine Superman. I'm tongue tied today. 1966 Donovan album, but that might be my favorite album of his. I don't know, but Season of the Witch, I listen to this all year round. I just love him. He's so weird. If you ever want to watch something with him, there's a great Stern interview, and he's on Stern, and he is such a like whimsical elf of a man. Like the way he speaks, he seems like he would have been in The Hobbit or something. Like you'd have to watch it. It's a trip. But he does like a big medley, and he does this and a few other songs as a medley, and he's something else, man. He's still alive. I wish I could see him. But you got to go to like Ireland or the UK to go see him.
Wow. So he doesn't
He's
come
so
around
cool.
here anymore?
Nah, I've never, ever since I've been aware of him, I've never seen him tour anywhere in the US or anywhere like that. But I'll post this thing from him being on Stern because he's such a trip. He's just such a weird, like,
because he looks like
he's such a little like elf fairy man, and the way he speaks even is whimsical. It's so crazy.
Yeah, and if I'm not mistaken, I think he was with the Beatles when they went to India.
Mm-hmm.
You go see them.
The Maharishi.
Yeah.
He's
with them. So was Mike Love.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah,
I think a couple of Stones too. I'm not too sure about that, but I know for sure Mike Love was there along with Donovan. All right.
Yeah, he's a trip. He's cool.
Yeah, I want to hear that. So please post that, Kate.
It's so fun. I'll post it.
What's your next pick?
Well, I'm gonna go with a Ghost track, but my pick is Ritual off the first album.
Nice.
Talk
about evil.
To me, that's still my favorite Ghost album. Is the first one. I think it's their heaviest still, and they were really like satanic on that one. And shout out to the album cover. Actually, it's a nod to my favorite vampire movie of all time, Salem's Lot. It's a takeoff of
Ooh, nice.
the
Yeah.
movie.
Mhm.
Yeah, so it's Papa Emeritus and taking the place of the head vampire in Salem's Lot. Over the house. Kind of like going like that.
Looming over.
Yeah, dude, I love every time I'm around Halloween, I always watch that movie too. I love Salem's Lot. I mean, that's like I said, man, that's probably my favorite vampire movie of all time. Because the vampires, they didn't look romantic. They were ugly, man.
Yeah, I hate that
It was
like
it was
pretty
like
vampire
Nosferatu
shit.
vampires.
Yeah. No,
Yeah,
the pretty sparkly vampire bullshit. So
yeah,
annoying.
not the romantic style, but the more
Yeah.
evil, menacing, and
Oh.
David Soul, man.
What do you guys I never listened to Ghosts, so I wrote down Joe's pick. What was the name of your pick, Al?
Ritual.
Ritual.
It's on
What
the
do you
first
guys
album.
recommend for like Ghost novice to start off? Just kick it off at that first
depends.
album.
It depends.
Well, if you want a more poppier, you go with their later stuff. You want the more heavier, darker.
Maybe I'll start at the bookends.
I would start at the first album. To be
I was
honest.
gonna say,
yeah.
My three favorite Ghost albums are the first one and the two most recent.
Okay, yeah. Sometimes bands bookends. That's like anybody asks me about John Prine, I always tell people listen to his first one, listen to his last one, and then go from there. But I'll have to check out Ghost.
I would agree with that. I would agree with like the first.
Yeah.
Their last two have been awesome too.
They've been.
I don't dislike any Ghost album. They're all great. But
the second one was a little spotty, but
yeah.
But I still love that first one, man.
Yeah, the first one's my favorite.
And if you never heard their cover of "Here Comes the Sun," I mean that's.
Yeah, I've heard that. That's funny because we were talking about doing
covers.
that Beatles covers app. We haven't done that yet, but we were talking about doing it all Beatles covers.
Yeah.
But I like the idea how Joe was talking about like how the music video looks, because that was when you were talking about Ministry, Al, that I'm like, I don't think it's an official music video, but it's like a Fleischer cartoon that they spliced like Every Day is Halloween too.
Yeah.
So it looks like Betty Boop or one of the Fleischers, but it's like a spider and flames and ghosts and shit for Every Day is Halloween. So it's not an official music video, but that's like the one that pops up first, because that was on my long list that I might have picked that Ministry song.
Yes.
But I love old spooky Halloween stuff, and I'm obsessed with old animation. So there's so many good spooky Fleischer Studio animations.
Yeah, the unofficial video, because they never officially had a video for but somebody took Lucifer Rising, the Kenneth Anger short film, which is like, he was like the king of like occult. And he was one of he did like these occult short films and things like that. And they put the way the guy put the music to the film was like perfect. The way he spliced it together. I mean, Ghost themselves should like actually just make it an official video.
They should be that. Yeah, they should pay the royalties or whatever.
I mean, the guy did a great job on it, man.
You see a lot of metal put to George Millier. Do you guys know George Millier?
Yeah.
Journey to the Moon and that. But he has all these old like demon and devil shorts that he did.
Yeah.
But you'll see a lot of like unofficial music videos that somebody put metal to those. And that's, if anybody doesn't know George Millier that's listening, please check him out. Yeah. One of the most incredible silent film, old French dude, amazing, like ridiculous. Every frame, if you see one in color, every frame was hand painted. That's how incredible it is. Yeah. That's why the color scheme looks all weird, and it's only like a handful of colors. They had to hand paint every frame.
Throw a link up to like some of that stuff later.
Yeah, we should. I'll put a demon one up because he's got a couple cool like devil and demon ones that are really fun.
Yeah.
All those like early like mid 1910s, like the original couple like Frankenstein short films.
Oh man, yeah.
Some of like, and then even like I love when people like will do like music videos from Metropolis or
that's a good call. Yeah, when somebody puts metal to Metropolis. Yeah. Nosferatu's incredible. That was one I was almost picking it was on my long list that like what is that for? Goblin does Suspiria. Have you ever? Yeah, that's so good. They just did that. The old Redford Theater here in Detroit's a historic theater, and they have a full organ accompaniment. So they just played that with like live band with full organ accompaniment. And every so often they'll do Metropolis too. But I'm like, oh my gosh, it's such a different vibe to hear the live music going to that. Woo!
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, always hearing live music being played right there just amplifies everything.
Yeah, so lucky. This theater, if you guys ever come to Detroit, I'd love to take you guys to this theater because it's stunning. It's all in that like old school like kabuki theme where it's like geishas and samurais. The whole ceiling in it is like a sparkly night sky that has LEDs. It's so cool.
Awesome.
Yeah. Go ahead, Andy. I think we're on your number 6. I keep going off the rails.
Right, okay. No. It's no problem at all. My number 6 song is something that I'm afraid of. And I'm afraid of me going to burn in hell by
nice.
Burn in hell. It's not the most scarier than that. This was such a great album. And as we all know, the iconic song was also in Pee-wee's Big Adventure when he's running through the movie set. So that's my number 6.
Andy, you're never going to hell. I promise. You're
well,
too nice. You're a good human. You'll never.
That's-
All of us, we might be with friends in purgatory a while, but Andy, you got a one-way ticket, straight up.
Hey, Scribble, how's it going?
Hey, Scribbles.
What's up, Scrib? I don't know who Scrib is. Sup, Scrib?
Scribble.
The official Scribble guy.
He hasn't done a show with us in a long time.
I gotta get him back on here.
Scribble rules.
Went out. But you know, like y'all were talking because that top 10 mentions of bookends would be interesting to do.
Oh be man, fun one. Yeah, that'd be a really good one. Because
I had the idea for bookend albums that have great bookended songs.
That would be a fun one.
Oh, that'd be a really good one too.
So
that'd do some research, but yeah, that'd be a fun app.
Yeah.
Bookend albums. I mean, that's just like there's quite a few people I could think of that like their first and their last are just.
Yeah. That's what Al had. Al and I talked about doing their top 10 farewell albums.
But that'd be a really good one.
But then that's kind of hard to do that because, like Leonard Skinner, you know,
they release something, or people who have like a posthumous release is hard too. So it's like,
you can't do posthumous.
Yeah, that's like, do you narrow it down to like living?
Yeah, and that's like what do you count with Leonard Skinner? Do you just count like the classic
boys
lineup?
or
do you count
the original,
like the 91 and all the stuff they put out after it.
You know, for that one, you could kind of put it like, I guess, like an asterisk on that one.
Yeah.
Or just say that Street Survivor is their actual last album.
They were never the same band after that.
No,
it was
never the same.
And and to be fair, I don't think it was only like one or two of them wanted to put out a studio album afterwards. It was Southern by the Grace of God, the live album, was supposed to be like just kind of this tribute thing, and then they weren't supposed to do anything after that.
Right.
And then some of the members decided.
Yeah. Well, let's move on.
Yeah. It would be really hard. We've talked about that kind of before, where it's like really hard. The rest of the band gets screwed over. That's like Queen or anyone who had like such an iconic leader, and then their leader's gone. It's like, does the rest of the band have to stop? Or that one of my biggest pet peeves is Sublime with Rome. Like, I love old Sublime, and it's not the same without Brad Knoll. So it's like,
of course not.
But it screws over the rest of the band. That it's like, do you never get to play your music you guys all made together? So I don't know. I don't know how to feel. I'm torn because I feel such empathy towards the surviving members. So it's hard.
Right. Oh well, yeah, because that's their job. I mean, that's
their
well, to be fair, Leonard Skinner did it. I know we're kind of veering off here, but
that's okay. But death and stuff is Halloweeny. We're good. We're still on topic.
Leonard Skinner did it right because they did Rossington Collins Band.
Yeah,
so they did it right. They moved away from. They left the legacy. They did Rossington Collins Band, and then by '87 when they did the reunion tour, and then everything after that, and they're still out touring with literally no members of the classic lineup.
Yeah.
Even though, I mean, Ricky Medlock, whatever you can consider that, since he was on the the Muscle Shoals stuff, but
Mhm.
that whole thing, at least at first they did it right. However, we can classify whatever came later. At least at first they did it right by the legacy. That's what I always say. I think that shows a lot of artistic integrity when you can recognize, okay, we're not the same band anymore. Change the name, move on, do your thing. If you want to continue with, like, if like a few of them want to still play together, do your thing. Audio Slave after
Mhm. I know. How do you go
after
on
Rage
without
broke up.
Cornell? Yeah.
So they did Audio Slave after Rage because the Machine broke up, and then everything else that came after that. It's one of those things you could have debates forever, and different bands have done it differently, and there's pros and cons to all of it.
Well, I
Mhm.
guess whenever we do the farewell albums, that could also be part of the show. Is talk about the
Yeah.
controversy of
And
this.
what bands do it justice? Because I do feel like there are some bands that do it justice, but others I have complaints.
Some bands have not done it justice.
No.
I'll put that one back for now. Anyway.
There's Sammy Covet. Happy Halloween to you too, Mr. Sammy. He's a good guy. He watches a lot of our shows every week. All right. Number 5. We're halfway there. Go, Joseph. Number 5.
Alrighty. So from my last pick, which is a song that makes me think of movies, to a song that was actually in a movie. And when I start describing this, it's going to lead you in one direction, and it's actually not going to be that. It's a little of a false setup here. But when I was young, the first horror movie series that I really kind of got into is not what I'm wearing on my shirt, but something of a similar sort of held in regard, and that is the Nightmare on Elm Street series. And so, one of my favorite movies in that series is Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors. And there was a band that wrote a song for that movie that was the title track of the movie. That is not my pick. My pick is a song by the same band that was used at the beginning of the movie, and that is Into the Fire by Dokken. I had, at that point, that was my intro. I knew Dokken. My dad's a huge Dokken fan, so I knew a lot of Dokken stuff, particularly like Under Lock and Key and that stuff. But I had never heard Into the Fire before, and so the first time I watched Dream Warriors was the first time I ever heard Into the Fire, and it's become one of my favorite Dokken songs ever since.
Yeah.
And so every time I hear, because you hear that one on the radio a fair bit, especially if you're listening to like Sirius XM, you listen to Hair Nation or something, they play Into the Fire quite a bit. Yeah. And so every time I think of that, it takes me right back to watching Dream Warriors, the scene at the beginning. And as comedic as that movie can get later on in the movie, and then especially later in the series, but the first 10 or 15 minutes of Dream Warriors is actually pretty damn scary. And that song kind of leads you into that as Kristen's building the house out of popsicle sticks, and that song's playing in the background while she's like eating raw coffee beans and downing Coke to try to stay awake. So I mean, immediately I get that memory flash every time I hear that song. So I had to include Into the Fire by Dokken on my list.
You know, on that same album, at about that same time, off of Back for the Attack, they had that.
Well, that was on Tooth and Nail, but
yeah, that was on Tooth and Nail, but on Back for the Attack, Dream Warriors is also on there.
That's the one that they wrote for the movie.
Right.
That was the one that they wrote for the movie, and then they also included an older song from like 3 or 4 years before that they put the movie out.
But I was going to say Heaven Sent is another good kind of creepy song, and the video, I don't know if y'all remember the video.
Yeah.
It was placed in a cemetery. And then the great George Lynch also had a instrumental on there called Mr. Scary.
Yeah.
Which was another good instrumental by him. All right, Kate. That's really good Dokken representation. Who just came out with a new album on Friday, and I'm hearing very good things about it.
Oh, that's fun. Yeah.
He might not be singing with the same high register because he can't, but at least he's doing what his voice allows him to do.
He's trying, right?
Yeah. Yeah, he's doing what his voice allows him to do, and I
I get
think that's something he should do more live. Because Elton John did the same thing too. Because Elton can't hit those high notes, so he sang in a lower register and kind of changed
hmm
the song, which was very
hmm
good. All right, Kate, what's your number 5?
First, I have to shout out the OG Nightmare on Elm Street because they're watching Evil Dead in it, and Evil
Yes.
Dead is one of my favorite horror series because it's ridiculous. Uh, yeah. But anyway, my number 5, try to be spooky and unveil it. It's Dr. John Gree. The song that I picked off of this is Dr. John Gree Gumbo Yaya. I don't know anyone who's more Halloween 24/7, an entire character and persona than being like a voodoo witch doctor.
Yeah.
So I'm obsessed with Dr. John. I love him. He was an absolute legend. Maybe he had some sketchy past, but he turned it around. He was an incredible human and he took good care of people in New Orleans and donated tons of money. Uh, During Katrina, he was literally driving around giving out food and water, that kind of person. So, shout out to Dr. John, RIP. I love him to death. What an incredible character. He made it for somebody else and the other person didn't want it. So, he kept it and
Oh,
did the whole persona. If you
yeah.
guys have never listened to this, check this out. Gregory's debut album in '68, and it's such a good spin for Halloween. Excellent. So, and what a career. I mean, he's another one that, like, his whole career, every album, he's such a killer.
I gotta check out some more of his stuff because I love that
Uh,
whole New Orleans vibe.
Check this one out right now. Halloween vibes all the way through because it's all the whole thing is themed to being like a voodoo witch doctor. And
Okay.
that's the Gree bag is like a voodoo doctor's little bag of trinkets and things that they have to do their stuff with. So you should
Oh.
listen to this. Yeah, it's so much fun. It's really short. It's only like 33 minutes, I think.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, it's a short
I'll
album,
check it out.
but that's his debut, and I love Dr. John, and it's a good spooky album cover. So this was one of my shout outs for spooky album covers. I had to put it up.
Awesome. Al, number 5.
Number 5. Normally you wouldn't probably associate this band with anything Halloween, and you guys know how much I love this band. People could probably try to say that I'm trying to crowbar a song into but honestly, this song is always on my Halloween playlist. I think it's one of the creepiest songs they've ever done. The vibe, the atmosphere of it, just fits perfectly with the theme of Halloween. That's Witch Hunt by Rush off of the Moving Pictures album. Just listen to that in headphones. You can hear it just starts off with a little glockenspiel and then it starts building up. You hear like a mob in the background and getting angry, and the way like the music's kind of building up. It's very it's almost kind of sounds like a monster kind of stomping, closer and closer to you, man. And then Getty comes in, the night is black without a moon, things like that. And I think that's, to the song. I mean, he sings it pretty menacingly too for his voice, so I think that's a great song. And it's never included on any Halloween playlist. So I think it's a perfect Halloween song. So I'm going with Witch Hunt by Rush. So
I think there's a few different Rush songs you can include on a Halloween playlist. They
Mm-hmm.
have, for some reason, this didn't make my list or anything, but "Stick It Out" always kind of gives me like a kind of Halloweenish kind of creepy, demonic kind of
that
vibe.
riff, the riff in it, and dude, it's a good one, man.
I will stick it out off of Roll the Bones.
Counterparts.
Huh?
Counterparts. Album after.
Okay.
Yeah. So Witch Hunt, man, that's my number 5 by Rush.
My number 5 is going to be after the band called AC/DC off of this album here. A lot of time in the early 80s when all this satanic stuff was coming about heavy metal, just stuff like that.
Satanic Panic.
Thing that AC/DC stood for, after Christ, the devil comes.
Yeah.
I heard that quite a lot, but it's not. It's just high voltage, you know. But the song that I'm going to pick off of here is "Evil Walks." Evil walks beside you, even evil walks.
That's a good one, dude.
Nice.
That's a really good
Really
track
good.
that Johnson sings it so great and menacing, and that was a great track. In fact, that was one of my favorite albums by them. It's a really good, strong album. I know that it was kind of a letdown after Back in Black because the sales was not as strong as Back in Black, but the music inside is. For those about to rock, we salute you. Is a really good.
The sales might have not been up to Back in Black standards, but it actually went to number 1 though.
Yeah,
which is something that Back in Black didn't do.
right.
So I think Back in Black was so big it never made number 1, but it set that. I mean, it became so huge that it just set the next album up to become like number 1 on the charts, man.
Right.
Yeah, it kind of set the table.
It just set the table. Even though the sales are nowhere near Back in Black, you know, you don't have to hit number 1 and have sales. I mean,
Right.
well, back then, yeah, I mean, you had to sell quite a few albums to hit number 1. But
1984 versus 5150. Need I say more?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's excellent. Yeah, because I think 1984 went to number 2, right? Yeah.
Thank you, Thriller.
Yeah, that's it. Thriller was number 1.
If that wasn't the same year, it would have been number 1, no problem.
And then 5150 the following, you know.
82's Thriller.
1.
Yeah.
And again, you know, that's not nowhere near a diamond album that 1984 is. So,
Right.
you know.
Until all this other Adele and Taylor Swift bullshit, Thriller was the most sold album of all time for like decades.
Until they
decades.
recertified the Eagles.
Yeah. Eagles' greatest hits. Yep.
And then the Eagles have 2 in the top 5.
2 in the top 3.
In the top 3, yeah, because number 3 is Hotel California, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Damn, that's such a good album. I love Hotel.
Yeah, Hotel California is
Good
insane.
album. That too could be a creepy song too, and I forgot to put it on here.
Oh, that technically, yeah.
Yeah.
I can see that. You can never leave. Yeah.
In a haunted hotel.
Yeah. That's funny. I wouldn't think about it, but you're right.
Creepy song. And people don't think about it that way.
No.
No, they don't, but it is. The other day, just to go off course, Molly and I were watching the top 10 revealed on Access TV. I don't know if y'all watched that, but the subject was top 10 songs with California in the title, and we couldn't think what could possibly be number 1 as this was going down. It was Hotel California. We're like, oh my god, I can't even.
It's funny when you're in the moment and your brain just stops working. You're like, wait, how the hell did I not think of that?
And what was kind of crappy is that they made California Girls number 3, half Beach Boys and half David Lee Roth. I was like, that's kind of cop-out. You can't do that. It's got to be Beach Boys, the originators. Even though David Lee Roth's version was good, but I've also heard that that's what led to the breakup of Van Halen, because he wanted to do that song, and Eddie said, nah, I don't want to do covers right now. And then Dave said, no, I've already cut it. You don't understand. I've already done it with another band. I'm going to release it. What? And that kind of threw Eddie for a whirl there. All right, number 4, Joseph.
Alrighty, so we were talking a little bit about different silent movies and how they kind of influenced a lot of music and stuff, and
they're just scary to watch.
They are, and one movie in particular influenced this next song to the point where the music video for this song is almost a shot-for-shot remake of a silent movie, and features the singer's wife, as many of his films do, and that is "Living Dead Girl" by Rob Zombie, which is influenced by The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari.
Fantastic silent film too.
100%, one of my favorite silent movies, and
I
love it's one of my favorite Rob Zombie songs as well.
Yeah.
And when I saw Rob Zombie live last year, he was showing. It was a mix of clips from the music video and clips actually from Dr. Caligari.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Together,
back
behind him while during playing the song. So it was showing the influence like directly. It was like a kind of a side. not side by side, but like cut for cut of both Sherry Moon Zombie and Conrad Veidt as the creature, and so it was really cool to kind of see that and directly see the influence. But Living Dead Girl is one of my favorite Rob Zombie songs. I mean, you can't beat the stuff off of his first solo album, and that's pretty much all you need.
Another one to see live. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's so cool how he keeps on going. You know, because he could have been gone a whole long time ago, but he keeps on reinventing himself in the movies and in pop culture, and just keeps on evolving himself, which is fantastic.
And he's still putting out new albums, and for as much as criticism you say is, oh, he's just putting the same album out over and over again, which, to be fair, yeah, that's kind of true. But the couple newer songs that he played when I saw him live were pretty good. Of course, most of his set list was stuff off of Hellbilly Deluxe and White Zombie songs, but the couple newer songs that he played were pretty good as well.
So that's good to know that he's still pushing the limits of it.
My daughter really loves Rob Zombie. I took her to not this past summer, but the summer before to go see him, and she really enjoyed herself. You know,
so. He's so good live.
Yeah. So
I don't think I've seen him live. In fact,
he's so much fun. I wish I went to that. Him and Alice Cooper. I screwed up not seeing that.
I saw him and Ozzy like years ago.
So fun. Yeah.
You know, him and Ozzy did a tour, God, over a decade ago. You know, and that was really good.
I've seen him 3 times when he was just the headliner, and just every time. And I've seen him. What he has, Johnny Five from Manson in there, and
that's who we had like summers ago.
Yeah. He's been with them for a while, and Johnny Five threw me a pic, and it has the creature from the Black Lagoon on it, and the other side says Johnny Five. Yeah. I'm like, oh my God, I'm obsessed. Creature from the Black Lagoon is like my favorite out of all the classic Universal monsters. Yeah. And he just, what a fun show. You got to go see him, Andy. He's cool. He has pyrotechnics and like strippers and crazy shit. It's so much fun.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying, is that, you know, artists who put everything into their shows to give to their fans is just awesome. All right,
so fun.
So where are we at? Are we at Kate number 4?
Yeah, I think I'm at number 4. What was your last one, Joseph? Sorry.
Living Dead Girl.
Oh, nice. Yeah. That's how we got on all the Rob Zombie talk. Yeah, I'm glad you picked that. That was on my long list. It was hard to cut that, but yeah, Rob Zombie's great. I did Halloween by the Misfits off a Legacy of Brutality from '85. I think that's just like such another great, like, I count them almost as shock rock. I know they're punk, but they're in that.
They're horror punk.
They're horror punk. They're in that vein of like
freaking
people out.
Yeah.
Horror punk I love, and I love Misfits, and whatever incarnation. I've seen a couple different incarnations of Misfits, and I'm always happy that I went. But I love Halloween. Is such a fun, great song. It has to be on any Halloween playlist for sure.
They're another band. It's like, which song do you pick? It's like
I know they have so many good spooky songs.
Rob Zombie the same way.
Rob Zombie's hard. Yeah.
They're just so associated. Like when the Halloween season comes, it's like there's certain bands that just fit into that season.
Well, and that's like Maiden has so many spooky songs, Dio spooky songs. Like, it's so hard to just pick one song from these guys. Yeah.
Well, with the Misfits, you got Halloween, you got Halloween 2, you got all the got all the sequels.
Yeah, they're so
Halloween
funny.
3 Season of the Witch in there somewhere.
I love I don't know. There's so many great songs. It's hard to pick because that's just such a band with so many good spooky songs.
I love that Halloween movie, by the way. Halloween 3 Season of the Witch, man.
Yeah.
It's my favorite Halloween movie.
Yeah.
Had nothing to do with fucking Michael Myers, but
and was all the better for it.
Such a weird, but the song sticks in your head,
or whatever it was called, man. Mm-hmm. That scene bugged me out, man.
The song sticks in your head forever.
Oh, when the kid puts on a pumpkin mask, and
oh my God, but just that like that song. But that's funny because like Troll 2 has nothing to do with Troll 1, and it's such a weird thing, and that's like That's like Halloween 3, that it's like, why is this a Halloween movie?
Yeah,
It doesn't make sense, but
it doesn't even
it's
fit into
so
the franchise.
it's so terrible. It's awesome. I love it. Yeah. Anyway, Al, what's your number 4?
Number 4, Al.
Number 4, I'm going with "Buried Alive" by Venom off of Black Metal. Now,
Ooh.
if you ever heard this song,
Nice.
it starts off with somebody eulogizing a funeral, but it's being heard from the person that's buried in the coffin. So just picture yourself down in the hole in a coffin, hearing a voice in the distance, out of the hole. It's kind of muffled a little bit, and then all of a sudden you hear dirt being like thrown onto your grave.
Wow.
The atmosphere of that alone, I mean, just freaking bugs you out, man. If you listen to that on headphones and in the dark, maybe with maybe a candle or something, forget it, man. You're gonna be like looking around, like, what the fuck's going on? It gives you like that it gives you that claustrophobic feeling that you're actually in the coffin being buried alive. He's still alive, in the coffin, hearing all this stuff, and then the music starts coming in. It's got like this cool atmosphere to it, like creepy atmosphere, and I think it's a great Halloween song. So by Venom, "Buried Alive." It's off the Black Metal album, so check it out.
I want to check that out. Yeah.
Yeah, dude, you got it, man.
It's
I'm
awesome.
gonna throw a link up on my page. So
yeah, post it. I've never heard it.
What an awesome album in general, though.
Yeah, Black Metal. Yeah, I mean, it birthed a whole genre.
And what genre would that be?
Black metal, extreme metal.
Pop punk, Andy. Pop punk.
Yeah, pop punk. No, it ain't no pop punk.
I know it's not.
That's for damn sure. But even though black metal, like the vocals are much more harsh, as later on. I mean, they spawned that genre. Them and Merciful Fate really kind of, they spawned that genre. Even though vocal wise, it went in a whole different direction. The first wave of black metal, the second wave that came in the '90s is completely different.
Yeah.
So, but still, like they were the forerunners of that.
Okay. Thank you, Al.
Yeah.
Number 4 is that where we're at? Number 4.
Yes.
Your number 4, yeah.
My number 4. What is it? Number 4. Oh yeah. We all picked Alice Cooper, so I went a different route. It's going to be Alice Cooper off of "Love It to Death." This just has a creepy vibe. Talk about black juju. I just love the way that song builds.
Yes.
Just creepy kookiness, and it's freaking awesome. That album, my favorite albums by Cooper, it's got to be "Love It to Death" and "Killer." Those two albums are just phenomenally great. And That Bad was that's when, before, he became the Alice Cooper, that's when it was the bad Alice Cooper. They just tore through those albums with contributions from everybody,
And the album cover is kind of creepy too, because he's just like kind of standing there looking like a corpse in the middle of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And I used to have that album, and I gave it to a friend of mine, so I don't have that one. I gotta go back and buy it again. I found it a couple of times, but it's a little out of my price range. I know I'll find it again. But that is my number 4, is "Black Juju" by Alice Cooper. All right, Joe, what's your number 3?
Alrighty, so my number 3 is one that is off an album that the cover was on my short list of scary covers, but because I was going to mention it in my list here, I didn't want to double dip. So that would be the title track from Bark at the Moon.
Yeah.
The Prince of Darkness himself, Ozzy Osbourne. I mean, quite literally writing a song about a horror movie, pretty much. And the music video with the basically bringing the cover to life.
Look at that cover. That cover is perfect.
So cool.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Such
so
a good spooky
creepy.
cover.
Just so creepy.
Mm-hmm.
The video for Bark at the Moon is badass.
Yeah. And I went out of my way to try to find an original CD pressing because that 2002 remix is bullcrap.
Yeah, it's got the little. Oh no, it's I thought you were talking about the '95 where it's like a small.
No. Yeah, the one the one that has like the red
board,
around the cover and
the
stuff.
border around it. Yeah.
No, this is one of the original '80s. This is one of the original '80s pressings, just because I love the sound of the original album. Because you get like,
what did they do to the remix on that one?
They basically just like stripped it down, like you know on the song "Bark at the Moon," all the little like cool little keyboard effects and stuff gone.
Really?
It's basically they turned it into like
that version. So
it's like if you buy it on Amazon, it's the one you get on Amazon now.
Oh, okay.
So like when they did the awful stuff in 2002 with the first two albums, they remixed they remixed Bark at the Moon as well. Now that's the only version you can get. And they added one of the B-side as a bonus track, and so like you can that's like if you like it's like the one to like if you go on Amazon it's like the $7 through Amazon Prime, that one. The only like if you go to Walmart, that's the one you're gonna get. The remix is not bad, but I think the original version just sounds so much cooler.
Oh yeah,
it does.
And so I had to find this at like an antique store one time because I'm like, I want to find an original pressing of this album, one CD.
Yeah.
So, I think it just sounds so much cooler and kind of creepier with like the dun 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 in the title track. And I haven't like gone track for track and kind of compared, but if I had to kind of guess just what they did to the title track, I think they kind of toned back a lot of like the keyboards, and basically I think they kind of raised Jake up in the mix a little bit, and it made it a harder sounding album, I guess. But I love the mix of the original.
Yeah, I got the original on vinyl, and I'll tell you,
same.
That's one of my favorite albums by him. I absolutely love Bark at the Moon.
Oh, Bark at the Moon's awesome.
It's awesome, man. And I think we did a not drop the needle, but we did a
versus
final battle.
Yeah, it was.
I just don't know against who though.
We did Ozzy versus Sabbath, Dio Sabbath, though, Heaven and Hell. Is that what we did?
No, we did Heaven and Hell.
I was on that Heaven and Hell versus Ozzy.
It was a Blizzard of Oz.
Blizzard of Oz. You're right. Yeah. I'm mixing it up, but yeah, we did that. What did you do that one for?
You know what? We did Bark at the Moon versus it was Black Sabbath.
I know. I remember what it was, and I can't think of it.
Yeah.
Gotta go back.
We have so many.
Yeah. All right.
Was it Born Again or something?
That's what I was thinking.
It was
maybe it was Born Again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was Born Again.
I think so.
Yeah. Man, that was a really good creepy album.
I was gonna say,
I
completely forgot about that, but so freaking evil.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah.
I completely forgot about that when I was making my list.
Yeah, I got that up there. I remember when that came out. I think Arden, which was their manager at the time, said
Don Arden.
Don Arden,
yeah. Don
Sharon's father.
Sharon's father said that baby on there looked like her kids. Looked like Ozzy's kids, which was his own grandkids.
Well, they were on the outs at the time.
Yeah,
I know.
That's why she married Ozzy.
You say that about your grandkids. That's fucked up. Yeah. All right. Let's keep going. Joseph had number 3. What's your number 3, Kate?
I had to put Thriller on here. There's just no way to. One of us had to mention it, and that's when Joe was talking about Vincent Price being on something. I'm like, yeah, like his intro in that, and then the music video, and it's like one of Michael Jackson's most famous songs of all time. But like I said, one of the best-selling albums of all time. Yeah, 1982, that just blew the scene apart. If you could imagine. I wasn't alive, but you guys probably remember when that dropped. What a wild thing to drop in that music video, to have like a really creepy music video and not be a metal band, not be a metal dude. I
Right.
think that's so cool. So yeah, I had to mention Thriller.
Yeah, I remember when all that came out. You know,
Mhm.
I was all. I mean, a Michael Jackson T-shirt. I even had a Michael
Yeah.
Jackson wallet.
Yeah.
With,
That's awesome.
I mean, I had all sorts of shit, but then like that's when I got 10 or 11. I said, okay,
You're like, I'm
And
good. Yeah.
then every Halloween, MTV would always show,
the
the
whole thing.
movie length
Yeah.
video, and
Yeah.
I mean,
The
that was
full length, like 10-minute music
Yeah,
video.
yeah,
and I
Yeah.
think that
that
was
was
before
groundbreaking. It
Landis.
was so groundbreaking at the
Yeah.
time, man.
Amazing. Yeah. And I
Yeah,
was always
using
obsessed
the,
with Vincent Price. Do you remember like him in the beginning of Edward Scissorhands?
Mhm.
So like I was obsessed with Edward Scissorhands, but then to have Vincent Price at the beginning, and I love that like all the machines he has, and when he's like so nice to his monster, and that's Frankenstein always has such a dear spot in my heart, and I count Edward Scissorhands as a Frankenstein's monster story kind of. But yeah, I love him. What an incredible Vincent Price is just a OG man, or
yeah,
goat, or
yeah,
whatever you want to call him. He's a goat. He's so fun.
yeah.
And then to do stuff like that, where he's like how Joe was saying he's on that, and then this, he still kept with it even till the time he died. He still
Yeah.
is awesome, and he loved being spooky, and he loved any kind of creepy stuff.
Yep.
Such a cool guy.
Yep, I like his old movies that he made back to the 60s.
Hmm.
House of
Mhm.
Wax is
That
one
was
of my
kinda creepy.
favorites.
House of Wax, yeah, and like oh man, he has so many good ones. It's so hard to pick anything that he's
I was
in.
gonna
That's like
say the one in the haunted house, but they were all the houses.
he's so good. That's like him and like Bela Lugosi or any of those old dudes that were in all the horror stuff. Like it's so hard to pick one of those guys that they
Yeah,
just
because
did
they
such a
always
good
kind
job
of
back in
use
the
the
day.
same guys over and over
Yeah.
in different forms.
Yeah, they'd use them because you had these guys that were just like somehow put in that horror
Yeah,
genre, and they're in all the horror movies, but they're so good at it. They're so awesome.
yeah. That was their bread and butter. All right, Al, what's your
Yeah.
number 3, buddy?
My number 3, I'm going with From the Highway to Hell album. I'm going with Night Prowler by AC/DC.
Yeah.
Nice.
I think just the vibe of that song and the way
Mhm.
Bond delivers on that song is perfect for Halloween. If AC/DC was going to have a Halloween song, to me, that's the ultimate one. The one you had too was great, Andy, but mine's better.
It is. I mean, it's crazy.
It's all good. But
Well, it's a Bond song. Of course, it's better.
Yeah.
that's why, for me, and I think wasn't it the rumor that Richard Ramirez would listen to the song or something
Yes.
when he would
Yes.
commit.
That and at a crime scene, he left behind an AC/DC cap.
A hat, yeah, or something like that, right? Yeah,
It was
Yeah.
black and in red letters. It was an AC/DC cap.
yeah.
And he left it behind at one of the crime scenes.
So they kind of attached this song to him and whatever. But
And that's what they called him. The press.
well, I think he was called the Night Stalker. I think.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
Night Stalker.
Stalker.
Yeah, not the Night Prowler, but still
Night Stalker. You're right.
kind of pretty close though. There,
Still spooky.
I'll just
Yeah.
say Prowler.
Yeah. But I love that
Say
song.
wrong.
The way the riff is played, and that's kind of like an evil, slow, menacing riff, and I don't know. I just feel like it has that vibe. So that's my number 3. It's one of my favorite songs off that album, and it ends the album off.
Yeah, it does. And speaking of Richard Ramirez, I think he was caught by citizens.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. He was caught by. I mean, they were outside just hanging out, and they say, "Hey, that's him," and they went, and I think they beat him up pretty good before they called the cops, because they had to bandage him up while after they had arrested him, because they had beaten him kind of badly.
Yeah.
Out there in the street, the barrios of LA.
I gotta say, when Kate is looking down and she has the hood like that, she's kind of reminded me of the Emperor from Star Wars.
Oh yeah. So funny story, because this cloak, I got this cloak off a buddy of mine, and he's like 6'6", so I have to pin it when I wear it. But it's actually from the broom closet in Salem. So it's a whole giant wool coat. It's fucking
that's cool.
menacing as shit. It's giant.
That's
So
cool.
one of my buddies who's like 6'4", I dressed him up. I did all his makeup. I'll send you guys a pic. If I can find it, I'll send you a pic. But I did him as the emperor, and he's wearing this, and it looks wild. It is so good. I'll
Yeah.
have to find it and send it to you guys. But yeah, I love this. This thing's so crazy. So that's why I keep adjusting it, because the hood is huge.
Yeah,
It
but
covers
like,
your
I was
whole
saying
face.
that
That's
when
why it
you-
keeps slipping, and I'm like, I can't see
But
anything.
it's awesome. You're adding to the vibe of the show. It's great.
Yeah, yeah,
because it looks really cool when it covers your eyes, Kate.
yeah.
And it's just under your eyes.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I'm
It's-
looking at my list, and I'm like,
You're
All right, Andy, go ahead, man.
my number 3 is gonna be Ozzy. Of course, I think we all might have an Ozzy one, but this album cover is just as scary too. Damn, that's wicked with a
mhm.
crucifix on the other hand, and just a. But I'm gonna go with Mr. Crowley. I think
Yeah.
I talked about
Ah,
this
yeah, it's great.
quite a bit. He
The,
sings
the organ in the beginning,
Yeah.
yeah.
yeah, and the case subject, and we all know about his
Mhm.
background and being in the occult, and starting his own religion, and being kind of a just a scary figure in real English history. So it's pretty cool to have a song like
Yeah, and
that.
it's interesting to have a
Um,
song about a real person like that. Like, a lot of the songs we've talked about are all, they're describing a character or something, and if it is about somebody, but that to be like a true dude is cool.
yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And that album cover too. I didn't put it on there because like Joseph, I didn't want to repeat, but of course y'all can. It's no problem.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to keep it kind of fresh. Joseph, number 2.
Alrighty, so this song was featured in one of the most famous horror movies of all time, but I think this band in general just has such a Halloween vibe, like this kind of spooky Halloween vibe, and it's kind of out of left field because I'll say the band name and you really go, oh, I guess so, and then you'll think more of their songs, you're like, oh yeah, I can kind of see that, and that is Blue Oyster Cult,
Mhm,
and the
mhm.
song, of course, is Don't Fear the Reaper from the it was playing on the radio in the original Halloween.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
so
you're
it definitely
right.
kind
Yeah.
of gives you that kind of October kind of fall spooky vibe. But I think you just go through Blue Oyster Cult's discography. There's so many kind of just creepy
Mhm.
Halloween songs.
There was one song I had on my long list off of Agents of Fortune was Tattoo Vampire.
Tattooed Vampire.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, nice.
But they have, like, you're right, Joe. They have, if you go through the catalog, they really have a lot of songs that could fit the theme of Halloween, man.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know?
Harvester of Eyes. So many just amazing kind of cool, like out there, just kind of weird, kind of spooky, like the monsters, Black
Yeah.
Blade. So many just kind of weird,
Mhm.
kind of creepy-ish, just the kind of soundscape of their songs is a little
Yeah.
kind of out there and spooky sometimes, and even like you said, stuff like Tattooed Vampire, where like the topic is kind of Halloween.
Yeah.
And they don't get enough love for being one of the first American hard rock bands that really broke through, because I think their debut was 70, 71.
Yeah, 70.
71, I think.
Mhm.
Yeah, yes.
And
Yeah.
that's early for that type of music.
Oh yeah.
And they're a American band. I think they were out of Long Island or New York for sure, right, guys?
Yes.
They're from Long Island.
From
Yeah.
Long Island, okay. And for them to come out with that sound, I mean, it was heavier than Grand Funk, and it was menacing at the same time.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
they don't get enough love at all. Blue
And
Oyster Cult's a really good band to look into their discography.
Speaking of Blue Oyster Cult and their first album specifically, I'll throw them a little plug right here. I pre-ordered the first of the 350th anniversary sets that
Yeah.
Frontiers Records is putting out, where it's gonna feature. They did 3 shows last year in New
Yeah.
York, and each night they played one of their first 3 albums in its entirety, plus like 10 or 15 other songs. I think over the 3 nights they played all of Agents of Fortune. They
Wow.
played most of some of their later stuff as well. But Frontiers is putting out each one separately as its own set. The first one comes out in December, and I pre-ordered it, and So if you don't know Blue Oyster Cult, or you know them and you really that early the black and white era speaks to you, and you didn't know this was coming out, definitely check it out. It's a good price. It's like a I think it's a Blu-ray or DVD or Blu-ray and like 2 or 3 CD set for like $15-$16, I think.
Yeah.
And it's coming out in December. And the cool thing about it is Albert Bouchard did the shows with them, so he's on most of the tracks from all the shows. So it's kind of you get 3 members of the classic lineup.
I went to the show right after those 3 shows. I didn't. I wanted to go to one of those 3 shows, but I just couldn't. I couldn't make it. Mm-hmm. But I went to the one right after it. And they played in Staten Island, New York. So and it was kind of like a best of like those 3 shows. So
a conglomerate of those.
Yeah, and Albert Bouchard was playing with the Dictators, who opened up for them, and then during their show he came out and he did a couple of songs with them, and it was awesome to see that, man. And I actually got to meet Albert Bouchard afterwards. Nice. Like as he was coming out, and I got his autograph. I couldn't get a picture of him. He was in a hurry, so I didn't want to bother him. But he did sign a CD for me, which was really cool. He was actually after that show that night. The next day, he was going to run the New York City Marathon.
Wow!
So, yeah, it was amazing. This dude is like,
how old is he?
Dude, he's in his 70s. He's in,
And it was funny. They put out like the first promo clip for this set they're putting out. They put out I'm on the Lamb from the first album, and it was weird seeing him playing rhythm guitar and not drums. It was weird.
Yeah,
he played guitar for most of the songs. He played drums for a little bit of it, but it was weird seeing him mainly on rhythm guitar on those songs.
Yeah.
And also, I believe that show is on Be Cool or Be Podcast out on the.
It is on there. I videoed the whole show.
And it's a great show to check out.
Yeah.
I got to see them early last year as well. It was the first time I ever got to see them, and they still put on such an amazing show.
Yeah, they're awesome, man. And even their last album, man, is a great album.
One of their best.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I really liked their last one too.
If that's gonna be their last album, that's another great like bookend like band right there.
Yeah.
You
I think Simple Remains and Heaven Forbid are the 2 best they did since the early 80s.
Yeah. And there's a song on there called Tainted Blood, so that's a good Halloween.
Yeah. And that's I think they played that live. I think that's on the set that's coming out.
Yeah. So
yeah.
Good pick, man.
Yeah. Great. Number 2?
We're number 2.
All right.
So I couldn't do a list without Screamin' Jay Hawkins.
Oh, that was going to be on mine.
I put a spell on you. I'm glad we're covering each other because there's been like 4 songs you guys have picked that were really hard for me to bump. So we got each other covered kind of. But man, Screamin' Jay Hawkins, come on.
That's a classic.
So fun. Man. So fun. It's an original piece by him. And to think that this came out in 1956. Like, what a crazy like character that
he's a scary dude, man.
He's such a weirdo. He's such a caricature of a human, and then especially breaking on the scene, being a weirdo and being a black man, and to have like a big hit, I think is so incredible. So that speaks volumes to me about this song. And there's so many lists that like this is counted as one of the 500 songs that shaped rock and roll. So it's just such a killer track. His voice and how he plays it off, and then how many people have covered this.
Oh, yeah.
That always speaks volumes to me about a song, is that if it's covered by a ton of other famous people a bunch of times, that's a great song.
Screaming Jay's the man.
Oh, man. I love him. There's so many incredible songs that he does, and he's such a trip. He had to be on here.
The CCR does a fantastic cover of that.
Yeah. And there's like Nina Simone and Billie Holiday and a bunch of those crooner broads that cover this, and it's fantastic covers. There's just so many good. It's hard to pick the best cover, but to know that this is a original of his, and it's obviously my favorite version, but there's so many great covers of it as well that I love, that I listen to regularly.
Pretty cool. All right, Al, what's your number 2?
All right, number 2, man. It's another band that I find them synonymous with Halloween season, and it's another one where which song will you pick? You know what I mean? That's Typo Negative, and I'm going with Black number 1. I mean, he mentions Lily Munster in there. I mean, what more do you need? You know what I mean?
Hallow's Eve, Trick or Treat.
Yeah, dude. I mean, and Peter Steele's voice is just tailor made for Halloween season. You know, that deep, like. I mean, even some women found it sexy, dude. I mean, like, found him, you know, a sex symbol, really. And
he was in Playgirl.
He was in Playgirl, and he was on an episode of what was that talk show?
He was on Jerry Springer.
That was Jerry Springer, where like he took somebody on a date or something, you know, and then he ended up. I think he carried her off, or whatever. It's unbelievable, man.
How tall was he? Do y'all know?
Oh, he was a tall dude, man.
At least
Very
six,
He was a
right?
big dude, man.
Yeah.
He was menacing. You know, if you saw him in a dark alley, you'd run.
Well, I saw him at a club because they were playing the next night, and with Ozzy. It was Ozzy, them, Sepultura, and somebody else. I forgot who it was. It was like 2 years before Ozfest started.
Yeah, okay.
This might have been a little precursor to it. But anyway, Typo Negative came into the club not to play. They just came to hang out. Because the club that we did on Thursday nights was like the rock station would promote it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like rock night on those Thursdays.
Okay.
And man, it was pretty cool because there was no cover, and Shiner, they sold Shiner for a nickel. So we would go in with
oh
$1.
my gosh, Shiner back beer.
Yeah, we walk in with $1, get like these 8-ounce cups, 20 of them. Just drink all night.
Oh,
that was
man.
great.
That's awesome. That's so funny.
Those were the days, man.
Yeah, those were
Man,
the-
I haven't thought about Shiner back in so long. That's so wild.
But the day before the show, they showed up, and that dude was so freaking big. Of course, they were roped off, and people couldn't go up to them or nothing like that. But when they were walking through to get to their table, that dude was just so big. I was like, "My God, is this guy in stilts? What's going on?"
Giant.
Yeah. I mean, and not just tall. I mean, a big
though. Yeah.
looking guy. Yeah.
A linebacker.
Yeah. Exactly.
So yeah, that's my so Black number 1 is my number 2.
Yeah.
So Typo Negative. Go ahead, Ant.
Yeah, this one was already talked about by Kate, but my number 2, Number of the Beast by Maiden.
So good.
Yeah, such a great album. I mean, we talked about this on
Yeah.
Thursday sessions. But man, that album cover with the fires and Eddie controlling the devil, just
Eddie, all of them. They're just We'll get there. I'll talk about that soon. But
You and me both.
Yeah.
All right, man.
All right. Oh, we are at number 1, guys. Number
Alrighty.
1, scary, evil Halloween theme song. Go for it, Joe. What's your number 1?
Alrighty. So I'm kind of excited. I didn't think I was going to be the first person to talk about this artist. I know Al mentioned this person's band in passing a little bit earlier.
Mm-hmm.
But so we talked about Alice Cooper, and Alice Cooper's the godfather of shock rock. We talked about Ozzy Osbourne. Ozzy Osbourne may be the Prince of Darkness, but there's only one king, and that's King Diamond. And of course, how else could you top a Halloween list if not with Halloween?
Yes.
So that's my number 1 is Halloween by King Diamond.
Yeah,
I
dude.
mean, just the lyrics. To me, every day is Halloween. I mean, just such the intro riff, and then just the screams, and just just King Diamond. I mean, just what more can you say other than just King Diamond? Pretty much.
Yeah, awesome, man. I mean, you can't. And you know what, man? I'll get to it when whatever. But yeah, you gotta have King Diamond on a playlist, a Halloween playlist. You know, so great Great pick, Joe.
That's somebody that I really do need to get into, and I really haven't.
That's same, Andy. I never
Yeah.
have really listened to him.
No, but I hear so much great things about.
What do you guys recommend King Diamond albums? Like Ghost was the bookends. What do you recommend King Diamond?
Any of the first four, really. So the Mickey D years pretty much.
Fatal Portrait.
Abigail.
Was that his first one?
Fatal Portrait was his first.
Fatal Portrait was his first one. Yes. Yeah. I love. And the nice thing about King Diamond is like it's separate from Merciful Fate. Merciful Fate was more the satanic kind of stuff.
King Diamond is ghost stories.
Yeah, it was horror. Was more on the horror side. So whichever one you want to kind of lean to, go with that. You know, if you want to listen to a little more satanic, go.
Yeah.
If you want to go horror, go with King Diamond. So
I'll go with ghost stories.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then check out Abigail. Check out Abigail.
Okay.
Yeah, cool.
And yeah, I mean, like his albums are. You want to talk about themes? They have themes too. You know. It's,
they all look like they have a different kind of.
The first four are all either full or at least half concept albums.
Yeah, they're concept.
Oh, nice. Okay, yeah, I didn't realize
Fatal Portrait.
that.
One of the sides is a concept album. Abigail, Them, and Conspiracy are all full concept albums.
Yeah.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah, if a concept album can suck me in, I definitely really like it when they do that. I think that's really cool. But it has to be something that has to grab you right away.
If you listen to this,
there's some you're like, really? That was a concept album?
Yeah, some concept stuff I'm like,
these
but
definitely
some
have
like,
stories to them. So
okay.
If you listen to Them and Conspiracy, you'll learn a lot about King Diamond's grandma.
Okay.
All right. Cool. So Abigail,
that sounds fun.
I know that I've seen that on Apple when I was going to listen to them, so I will keep that one in mind. All right, Kate, did you give your number one?
Nope.
All right, number one, Kate.
You're all set, Joe. Good.
Good.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. What would this be without talking about Monster Mash?
Oh, there you go.
I know Monster Mash is like one of the most ridiculous songs, but I absolutely love it. I love campy stuff. Yeah. I love surfer rock, which this has a surfer rock vibe in my mind. Oh man, the 60s were a funny time, but this Bobby Boris Pickett, because that's what happened Boris on my mind when Al talked about Boris the Spider. Bobby Boris Pickett and the Crypt Keepers. And I just had to talk about this. I love this. I play it every year. It's like a tradition. Like Thanksgiving, I have to play Alice's Restaurant. Halloween, I have to play Monster Mash. And it's such a funny thing that this is such a like harmless, stupid song, and the BBC banned it for being too morbid.
Oh, wow.
They would not play it on the air, which is insane because it's such a tame song. I also love this. This has a special place in my heart because I love old Simpsons. And there's an old Simpsons episode, like one of the early seasons where it's Valentine's Day. And it's a joke running throughout the episode that one of the radio DJs keeps accidentally playing Monster Mash instead of like any romantic music. So yeah, I had to talk about this. I absolutely adore this song. I think it's just such a great, weird one-hit wonder, and it really encapsulates, like, it's such a time capsule for the early 60s, and yeah, I love it. It's so fun.
It's a great song.
So much fun.
It really is. Whatever happened to my Pennsylvania twist?
I know. And we listen to this crazy podcast that I'll have to post it. They do a version of it that they call it like the Monster F. I'm not going to say it on here because I don't know how much YouTube listens to us, but I'll post a clip of this. This podcast is funny that it's like an improv kind of podcast, and the version that they do where they turn it all dirty is so hysterical. So I'll have to post a copy in the chat for you guys.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah, it's too funny. But anyway, Al, what's your number one?
Well, my number one, when I was a kid, when I first heard this song, scared the shit out of me. And it just kicked off a whole genre. It's got to be Black Sabbath by Black Sabbath, man.
Nice. Yeah. I was hoping somebody would call it out.
You got to have that on a Halloween playlist, and that's always definitely been on mine. Just the whole atmosphere of that song, and just the whole delivery, the creepiness of it, and the lyrics, the bell with the rain tolling in the beginning,
Yeah,
and
the lightning, the
and then
thunder.
that riff, man. That just fucking pile drives you. Comes in, and thus a genre was born, known as heavy metal.
It's so sweet. What is this?
Yeah.
It stands before me. It's just yes.
Yeah.
Great song.
Yep.
Yeah.
So and inspired by Boris Karloff, that's how they got the name. They were rehearsing across the street from a movie theater, and there was, the Black Sabbath was, and then Ozzy thought to himself, I guess this is the story, like, people are paying to get the shit scared out of them, so why not make music like that? You know what I mean? So
wasn't the lyrics like the vision that was it Geezer that wrote the lyrics, or was it Ozzy?
Well, there's always this debate, like it's
who goes back and forth.
Yeah, it wasn't like from the story like Geezer saw like this figure in black at the end of his bed or something. Like
I think it might have been a collaboration of the two. I think the two.
I've heard that Shadow Man thing before, where you saw the Shadow Man.
It was like one of those like sleep paralysis demon things.
Yeah. Yep.
And Geezer was really into the cult and stuff.
Cult.
About all that stuff, and they would have like rehearsals at like and think the house is haunted, and they would get you think a band as hard as like Black Sabbath would be like these tough guys, and they'd go and run and be like scared.
Well, imagine recording in a house out there, because like all the houses there are older than our entire country, so I'm sure every house is really haunted.
Well,
if you believe in that.
They were all probably
they're all doing drugs too.
Yeah,
you probably think everything's haunted when you're on drugs that they were on. But shout out another horror icon, Boris Karloff. Like, come on. Yeah, amazing.
So that's my number one, man.
Good pick.
Very good pick. When we were on vacation a couple of weeks ago, we went to Charleston, South Carolina, and we also went to Savannah, Georgia.
Well, 2 of the most haunted places, allegedly, if you believe in it.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. We took a couple of ghost tours.
Nice.
They were pretty cool.
Yeah.
The fact that, we're walking like around cemeteries at night. I was like, do we really have? Can you just tell us the stories?
The ones in Charleston. I've never been to Savannah, but we did a couple in Charleston, and they're incredible because it's just so old, and like Civil War graves and turn of the century graves and stuff all mixed in together.
Yeah,
so cool.
That's what I was gonna say is I work on the Gettysburg battlefield.
Oh no way, that'd be so trippy.
Every day is Halloween.
Oh my god, yeah, that'd be so trippy.
Yeah,
like,
that's cool.
I don't know how much I believe in ghosts, like
I don't
for real, but I love spooky shit so much. So I love cemeteries. I love any kind of ghost stories. So it's so much fun.
And we also took a tour of Fort Sumter.
Okay.
As well.
That'd be cool. I've never been to Gettysburg either. Gettysburg would be wild for like thinking about any kind of haunted stuff.
Oh yeah, they got ghost tours running 24/7 out here.
That'd be so cool.
That you can go. You can't walk more than 10 feet without bumping into a different ghost story.
That was when we were in New Orleans. We went to Cemetery Number 1, and I just was like creeping along behind one of the like haunted tours because I'm not paying for it. I'll just stand close enough to listen. And those, obviously, the cemeteries in New Orleans are absolutely incredible. But I love any of those spooky port towns, like the piratey towns. So like Savannah and Charleston and New Orleans are so fun and so much cool spooky history. And
like the first time I went to New Orleans, it kind of freaked me out that the caskets were, or the tombs.
Yeah, all the mausoleums. Yeah. The water table's too high.
Yeah. Because they're below sea level.
Correct.
Everything is on top.
Yeah.
That's why there's no basement.
I love that. I like anything like that. I like any spooky stuff, and I'm like dying. I was just talking to my friend. I think next year we're really gonna try to do Day of the Dead in Mexico, because she's actually from Mexico City, and like I want to do that so bad. It looks so cool.
I love
So we'll
taking
see.
ghost tours because I like to hear the stories,
The
behind
history and the stories. Yeah. That's like any of the, because they have like, you know, the Jack the Ripper tours and like different serial killer
Oh wow,
tours.
yeah,
So like those would be really cool to do because it's about some real person.
yeah,
Mhm.
up
So
and
that
down.
would be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
amazing the fascination with it. I mean, the building that I work at, the museum that I work at, it was
Oh, yeah.
the building was used as a hospital during the Battle of Gettysburg.
Mm-hmm.
And so literally every day we have at least one person come in. Is the building
Say,
haunted? Is the building haunted? Well, I thought I felt something in that room. I'm like,
Uh-huh.
no. Literally, we
You're
literally
like, it's
this
just a building,
weekend,
dog.
it's just a building. Literally this weekend we're hosting an overnight event, and
Yeah.
some of my coworkers have worked there for 10, 15 years, and they're like, we've never seen anything. Like it's
Yeah.
nothing. So
that's here we have like, you know, a mental hospital that they converted into a haunted house, and actually Alice Cooper paid for it, called Eloise.
Wow.
And that, I mean, I not even necessarily believing in ghosts, but believing in energy. I don't know if you guys have ever walked into a house or walked into somewhere and been like, ooh, I don't like that. I don't know what's going on, but I'm not into that. So I believe in that more than like actual ghosts and stuff. But
yes, kind of same.
that Eloise has some real shady shit went down there with like any of the, like, obviously mental hospital and mental health at the time was not cool. So but yeah, they that has to be cool. You have to tell me about that building. I'll have to look it up, Joe. That sounds fun.
Yeah, it's everyone always asking. I'm like, no, we really don't. We really don't feel anything. And to be fair, there, like you kind of said, like with the energy stuff, there are some places I can go on the battlefield where I can kind of feel like, oh, I don't like the vibe. Like,
you know that
check.
something horrible was like going down. That's what I always think about, and that's like any of the things where like a Holocaust museum tour or something, like I don't like that in my head, so I don't do any stuff like that. Yeah, I want it to be fun, spooky, not like actual horror.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, happy Halloween. I'm gonna have some candy.
Nice. Eat a Reese's, dude. I'm having a candy.
Yeah.
Let's go, bro.
All right.
Cheers, y'all.
Number one is going to be Al's number 2 by Typo Negative.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
Black number 1 is what I'm going to go with. I love that song. I love the way he sings it. I love the keyboards on that. Just, I mean, it's just like a creepy.
It's like the Addams Family almost, man.
Yeah, kind of a haunted house kind of vibe. So that's pretty cool. So that's our list, guys. I hope y'all enjoyed it. But we're not through yet. We're gonna have our 5 scariest album covers. Let's do all 5 at once.
Okay.
Where, Joe?
Alrighty. So I changed one up at the last minute here because I figured, and I know Kate kind of mentioned that she's going to talk about this particular album cover. So I decided to go for a different Iron Maiden album cover. And so I'm picking Live After Death. I mean, just the kind of Eddie raised from the grave.
Nice.
And if you open it up, you get the whole kind of image, like
that's
whole
awesome.
Cemetery imagery.
Yeah.
I love this. It's probably my favorite Iron Maiden album cover. It's such a killer, kind of creepy, creepy album cover. But I love that. And I mean, there's so many of Iron Maiden's early album covers are so creepy like that.
Yeah.
So another one, a band that we haven't talked about, just because their songs don't necessarily make it, but Leprosy by Death.
Oh, yeah.
Such a kind of creepy, just the lepers moving through, and just the guy's face is just so creepy. I mean, I'm getting the glare here, but you kind of get the picture.
Yeah.
I mean, most death metal album covers are really kind of whacked out.
Yeah.
Or even thrash metal album covers, and I'm going to go to Rain and Blood. You kind of get this kind of really sort of kind of offsetting kind of impressionist painting of hell here.
Yeah.
You kind of you get the more literalist painting on the cover of Hell Awaits, and then you kind of get the impressionist version here on the cover of Rain and Blood.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a really kind of creepy, just these weird images of people and just multiple different ways to torturing and killing people on the album cover. It's really kind of creepy. And of course, as we mentioned earlier, if you're going to go with cool ghost stories, you go with King Diamond. But if you're going to go with Satan himself, you're going to go with Merciful Fate. Don't Break the Oath. I mean, just what a kind of creepy, just Satan pointing through the fire. Oh, it's so creepy, and you get. I love the way they did the gatefold on the most recent CD, and you kind of get the close up here with the logo and everything.
Cool.
Nice, yeah.
I mean, any Merciful Fate or King Diamond album cover is going to be really, really cool.
Yeah.
But and of course, I mean, the greatest, creepiest album cover of all time, like Al said, the greatest, creepiest song of all time is Black Sabbath off the album Black Sabbath by the band Black Sabbath.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what's up with this chick? Like, what is up with this chick?
I don't even know. Pictures after they have like a
yeah, they have
I love that when they do that. That's like whipped cream or
Yeah.
some iconic broad on an album cover that
Yeah.
they have like later. So they do have her, which is cool.
Yeah, so it's just like you just look at this
It's
cover.
such a good spooky cover.
It's so out of focus, like it's purposely out of focus. And
well, and they did like a bunch of like focusing like goofy things to like splice all
like
that together to layer it.
Yeah.
But
and you're just you just look at this. You look at this and
So
you listen
cool.
to particularly the first track, but even some of the other stuff on this album, and you're just like, you just think to yourself, this chick's into some weird shit. Like this, there's some weird shit going down in this house.
Yeah, those cult
like,
Crowley followers.
Like, you watch the movie The Witch, and like there's some weird shit going down in this house here. And it's just like you look at this. It's one of those things where it's like the album cover perfectly matches the music, and you can just stare at the album cover, and you're just getting this whole kind of picture, and it makes it more fun to listen to the album when you're looking at this, and you're just like, what the hell's going on here?
Yeah.
That's the right album cover adds so much to the whole vibe of any album. Like you could just see something and be like, I know I'm gonna like that, and pick it up without even listening to it. And you're like, okay, that was great.
Already knowing what it's going to be in.
It's funny. They went from, oh God, what the hell's going on here, to, oh God, what the hell did they do? Why the hell did they do this?
That one doesn't make any sense to me. I have to look up what that one's supposed to be.
Some guy LARPing in Central Park. Just like whoever decided to put this on the album cover deserves to be fired. Yeah, from something so cool and creepy and just like what
comparing
the hell, like,
that and then going to Born Again, which is
and then you pull out Born Again and it's like and they're back to the weird creepy satanic.
Yeah, but then you had the album cover for Sabbath Bloody Sabbath, and that's amazing.
That's a great one.
You know,
and that's another one. You go from Sabbath Bloody Sabbath to Sabotage.
Well, we're talking about like
Sabotage is such a weird album cover too.
When like Ozzy's solo albums have so many great.
The back of, All right, Kate, what are your 5 album covers?
It was hard for me to nail down a Maiden one because all of them are so awesome. I mean, Eddie, like what a iconic set of album covers. And I love Eddie. I love the character, and I love how spooky all their covers are. I mean, I talked about Number of the Beast, but I mean, any are interchangeable in my mind. How good they are and how well they're like their artist is so awesome for that. It's so perfect. And that's when, like I said, you see an album cover and you're like, all right, I probably like this just based on the cover, like never hearing
Eric Riggs, man.
You could pick it up and be like, this will be awesome because it looks so cool. And that's like shout out to Ozzy. Like you held up a couple different Ozzies that I'm like, all those are awesome album covers. And Born Again, Sabbath is like such a fantastic, creepy cover. I gotta shout out Dio. Dio always had like amazing album covers, and I have a couple Lord of the Rings nerds that I'm friends with that we always send back and forth like Lord of the Rings memes, but like Lord of the Rings art that comes out. There's a great Instagram that's like sci-fi horror art. That's like the name of it. And they post a lot of different Lord of the Rings ones, but I'm like, any of these Lord of the Rings ones that are spooky could have been Dio album covers. So that's a joke we had going back and forth the last couple of weeks. That like Shelob's like the big spider that's in Lord of the Rings, or the Hobbit, I should say. Yeah. But like all of these are like Dio album covers. Misfits, another band who has killer album covers. Dr. John usually has something cool and spooky. But one of my favorites of all time, you guys know, Joe doesn't know me, but I love old country. like old country, obsessed. And the Leuven brothers have one called Satan is Real. Do you guys know that?
I remember that one.
And that's like inspired a bunch of stuff that the White Stripes have done, which is funny, but it has. But that, yeah, Satan is Real by the Leuven brothers, and they have this song on there that's called The Atomic Power. I'll send it to you guys. It's such a wild ass song because it's talking about nuclear war, and the album cover is a trip. It's like
It is a trip. Yeah, it is a trip.
It's just the brothers standing there in like suits and like Satan behind them with flames. I mean, it's just I love that. It's such a weird thing.
It's almost like ridiculous, It's
like, it is. And
is it kind of like one of those like fake meme album covers you'll see?
Almost like, to the point of that. Yeah. How like, are you on BS Sessions? Are you on that where Charles has been posting a bunch of ridiculous ones?
Yeah.
I'll post it on there.
I just looked it up. Oh my, this is so weird.
I know, it's crazy.
Satan is Real.
Oh my god, that album actually like is kick ass though. I love old country, and those dudes, the Leuven brothers, are phenomenal old country singers. And you got to look up that song, The Great Atomic Power, because it's just talking about us getting fucking nuked. It's crazy. But yeah, they influenced a bunch of White Stripes stuff. Like White Stripes got obsessed with that when they found that. It's such a funny thing, but it is, yeah, that's one of the most iconic, like spooky, weird album covers ever in my mind. But I'll stop. Al, it's your turn. What are your album covers?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm going to run them down. Number 5, I'm going to go with Celtic Frost to Megatherion. It's actually Satan using Jesus as like a slingshot. You know what I mean? And it's by H.R. Geiger, who's pretty famous with his
Alien and everything.
Yeah.
It was all inspired. Yeah.
It's a really cool album cover. If I would have bought that in my house when I was a kid, my mom would have friggin'
burned it.
You would have drowned me in holy water or something, man. Like literally. I got to go with Slayer, Hell Awaits. I mean, I know Joe covered Rain and Blood and kind of mentioned that one, but Hell Awaits is, everybody falling to hell and shit like, it's to me like, see, that's another one. I wouldn't dare bring that home and have my mom see that.
I kind of see those two as like a before and after. The Hell Awaits is all them falling to hell, and then Rain and Blood is all the weird shit that happens to them when they get there.
Yeah, when they get there, yeah. Number 3, I'm going with the band Mayhem. They have an album cover called Chimera, and it's really kind of this real creepy, like, demon, but it's kind of almost out of focus. He's kind of like, it's dark, but you can kind of see his silhouette. If you Google it, you'll know what I mean. But the name of the album is Chimera, Chimear. ERA, I'm sorry, Chimera, by the band Mayhem. And shout out, they also have a bootleg album called Dawn of the Black Hearts, which is an actual photo of the singer dead. The guitar player, Euronymous, came home and found him. He blew his brains out.
Right.
And he actually took Polaroids of him and ended up on a bootleg album. It's not for the faint of heart.
Yo,
if you want to Google it, I think when you even Google it, I think a warning comes up. This is to ask you if you're over 18 or whatever.
Oh yeah, I can back up. I just Googled
it. Yeah. So, yeah, it's pretty fucked up, dude.
Yeah.
So, number 2, I'm gonna go Iron Maiden. I kind of did like a tie. I love Killers. I love the Killers album cover. Eddie holding the axe, and then the Fear of the Dark cover is a great cover too. Real spooky, him in a tree and shit like that. So, and then my number 1, I'm going with the Black Sabbath debut. I'm going with Joe on that one, and I mean, just staring at the lady in the cloak and the, it looks like a dead electric dead forest. It's you can't get more atmosphere. I mean, that is just the album that would, you look at the album, you listen to the album, it's like the atmosphere of the album matches the cover. It's like, it's so perfect, man. So that's my number 1. And shout out to Born Again as well.
Yeah, exactly.
So go ahead, Andy.
You see, that could be another show too. The album cover that matches the music inside.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah.
That's another good one.
Yeah, dude.
Please,
That's
guys,
great.
remind me of these. My
I'll
top five.
write it down.
I'm gonna start at number 5 with Sir Lord Baltimore with their debut
Ooh.
album Kingdom Come with the Ghost Ship.
Dude, that's a great album, man.
Yeah,
and
dude.
that doesn't get talked about
It really
as,
is a good album.
as a forerunner of like heavy metal, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really cool looking. I've never seen that.
American heavy metal.
Yeah, that looks
Out of
cool.
New York, but this is the Ghost Ship. I remember, dude. I found this for $1.
Oh,
Yeah.
lucky, man.
Oh, that's a really good album too.
My friend would introduce me to all those like kind of like, you know, those lesser known bands like that were really heavy, man. You know, and that's like one of them. I remember listening to it, I was like blown away by it. I was like, dude, this is
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Like when I first heard that album, again, you know, I bought it because of the album cover and because I've heard of them, you know, so I went ahead and bought it. And when I was hearing it, I kid you not, I mean, this might be a little bit too much, but it was like America's answers to Black Sabbath.
Yeah. Yeah.
When I heard it, it's America's answer.
Yeah.
Speaking of Black Sabbath, Ozzy has an album cover, my number 4. It's gonna be Speak of the Devil.
Ooh, yeah.
Nice. Yeah, that's a good spooky one.
Yeah.
The jello in his mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
The inside's fucking
Yeah.
awesome.
What's with the weird gimp guy that always is like, what? The guy. That was always weird to me, but it's
So
funny.
awesome, man.
Such a good album cover.
Yeah.
Corpse paint on years before Mayhem.
Brad Gillis.
Yeah.
Brad Gillis rips it up on that album, man.
That's
Yeah.
a great set. I'm gonna go with Joseph's because I had already pulled it out. I didn't want to.
That's a great.
Oh, it's so good.
That is a great one.
So awesome, especially you know he's coming out of hell. You see the fire down here, the flames, the lightning hitting his forehead, the chains that he's breaking. Awesome.
So good.
And then
Al, what'd you say that artist name was? I can't remember.
H.R. Geiger? Oh no,
No.
Derek Riggs.
Derek Riggs.
Thanks, Joe. Derek Riggs. Shout out to that guy because all those are so cool.
and if you open up the whole gatefold, you get the whole scene because the rest of the cemetery and the hill and the lightning where it strikes. Really good. And this one's going to have a little bit of, I dropped paint on this one, but imagine walking into a room and the room is empty. The only thing you see is this bludgeon hammer with blood on it. Kill Them All by Metallica. You see where I was painting and I got
yeah. Whoops.
Yeah.
I see you used your vinyl as drop cloths.
Yeah, I do. And then I picked it up. So the vinyl still plays very well, but you can see my fingerprints. But hey.
Still good.
And number 1, I hate to be a copycat, but it's got to be Black Sabbath.
Of course, man.
Look at that. The Great
Witch
Space,
is so
man.
good.
Awesome.
Yeah.
My bucket list is to go to that site and
That would be really cool to
get a
see that
picture of it.
house.
Yeah.
And then you open it and it's, you know,
the upside down cross.
Mm-hmm.
And the
Which
way
is
The font that they use even is so
awesome.
good. Like,
Very gothic.
yeah,
gothic.
so good.
Even the band didn't even know about the.
Mhm.
That's a Vertical label. That's a good one, man.
Mhm.
Yeah. Even the band kind of didn't know. The record company's the one that did the upside down cross and didn't even like let the band know. And I think they were kind of pissed off at that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you know, after that one, you know, that's on the first album, everybody had these connotations of them being this satanic band and everything. You know, I mean, yeah, they talked, they sang about it, but it was more warning kind of against it, man. You know, in a way, you know.
And then, like, all these Satanists started going to their shows and it freaked them out.
Yeah.
And that's why they started wearing crosses. I think it was Tony Iommi's father.
No, Ozzy's father.
It was Ozzy's dad.
Yeah.
And a gift for all that to help protect from from the Satanists that were coming because they had nothing to do.
No,
yeah, it was just music. They weren't really
Singing
Satan
about-
worshippers.
It's like
No,
a
'cause I mean,
movie, you know.
even I know Ozzy is. I don't know about the rest of them. I know Ozzy. Talk about Ozzy. It was and still is a practicing Christian. So it's kind of like it was kind of like one of the things like we really don't want to be involved in that. Like
yeah, whoops.
yeah, but
Well, so
Yeah.
it was Ozzy's father. I didn't know
Yeah.
it was his dad. I thought it was Tony's.
It's funny.
no. Andy, you were talking about Speak of the Devil and holding that album up and talking about Brad Gillis. I have a fun little quick story about that album. So over the summer, this couple months ago, I saw Night Ranger was playing like 10 minutes from my house, which is very rare for anybody to be playing that close to my house. I live in the middle of nowhere. They were playing like 10 minutes from my house, and I went to see them, and it was at Gettysburg Bike Week, and so it was just this big open field with a stage in it and a bunch of old hillbillies and their motorcycles sitting in lawn chairs out on the field. And so basically you could literally pay the ticket price and just walk right up to the stage and get right up to the gate, like right up to the fence.
Oh man, yeah.
Like right up to the fence. And so I was at the fence, right at the fence on Brad Gillis' side of the stage. And they played a kind of a weird set where like in the middle of the set, they just did like 4 or 5 covers in a row of all the different bands that all the members of Night Ranger have played in.
Damn Yankees. Yeah.
Well, no, like they were doing Carrie Kelly was in was in Slash's Snake Pit, so they did a Guns N' Roses song, and they did I think the keyboard player was in like a version of like a weird version of the Doors, and so they played Roadhouse Blues.
Oh wow, okay.
And then Jack Blades started talking about Ozzy and talked about Brad Gillis being with Ozzy, and they played Crazy Train. But before they started playing it, I was like I said, I was right up at the gate. Right at the security gate, and I shouted up, and I was on Brad Gillis' side of the stage. I shouted, "Speak of the Devil," and Brad Gillis looked right at me and smiled. And so I'm like, I got to, I kind of had that moment with Brad Gillis about that album.
Yeah.
So it was kind of cool. I guess, and I know he left Oz, he went back to Night Ranger, but I would assume he had a good experience with that album because, like I said, when I shouted "Speak of the Devil," he looked right at me and smiled. So.
Yeah. You should have bought that album with him. Maybe he would have signed it.
I didn't think about it.
Awesome.
Like I said, it was at Gettysburg. It was at Gettysburg Bike Week. I had never been to the venue before, and so I didn't realize that I'd be able to get that close to the stage.
Yeah.
And so I just kind of showed up. I'm like, oh, I can stand right here. So
cool.
Nice.
Yeah, that's awesome because that album's fantastic.
Oh yeah.
I mean, the way that they treated those Sabbath songs, better than what Sabbath would have done at that time.
It was better than Live Evil.
Oh yeah, it was better than Live Evil. You're right. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining me tonight on this wonderful Spooktacular. And like I said, this was a special edition, so that we are going to have a Wednesday's episode of the Black Spinner. We are going to be doing Black Sabbath. We're going to be ranking the songs on Sabotage.
Nice.
We are going to put them in order with what we think. So it'll be 8. I believe there's 8 tracks on there from 8 to 1. So if y'all want to join me,
I'm in.
I'm in for that.
Okay, you're in. Okay,
I'm in.
Al, just say yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
Come on, man. Sabbath. I'm fucking in on that, bro.
Yeah, I was gonna say Al's not missing that.
Great. And one of our buddies, Brad, will be on there as well.
Oh, yeah.
We haven't had Brad on the music one that much.
He hasn't been on in a while, man.
So he'll be on with us on Wednesday. We're gonna be talking Sabotage. So thank you so much for saying yes, you two.
Before we leave, I just want to congratulate Kate on her first stand-up routine.
Oh my god! Yeah,
that was awesome.
Thank you so much. It still feels like a dream. Like, have you ever?
I think you did.
Thank you. I can't wait to send you guys the official because I have a pro audio coming and it'll have my name card and everything. So I'll post it when I get it. I'll post it on Black Spinner. But I still feel like it's not real life. Have you ever done anything like that? And it it went well. So it just like
you got more guts than I do, girl.
Oh, I felt insane. I don't even know. It was just such a crazy experience. And I can't wait to do it again. I'm gonna keep it up. So I'm
now I know why you've been going to so many comedy shows.
I'm obsessed.
you're honing your craft. You're
I've-
honing.
I wanted to do it for so long, and I have that youngest child syndrome that I need that attention. So I wanted to do it, and I can't believe how incredibly lucky I was. I actually got that class for free. My friend's brother-in-law is the teacher, and someone sponsored 2 people, and he asked me if I could do it, and it was like, I've been trying to finish my degree, and it was like, I can't. I never had the $200, or I didn't have the time, and I finished my degree in May, and this opportunity popped up, and I was like, I can't believe how lucky. I just am so grateful to like have something like that fall in my lap.
See, now if Kate becomes a famous stand-up comedian, I got a picture with her before she made it. So.
And we're at
pictures again.
Our picture. We are above the Comedy Cellar, and out of all the places in New York, in the most amazing comedy club in New York, we are sitting at the Olive Tree together in a booth at one of the most iconic places in all of comedy history.
I had so much fun. I had so much fun that day with you.
Yeah, we had a blast. It was such a cool. We got to go see that. We literally met at the building for Physical Graffiti. We met at that building from the Zeppelin album, and then to go see Jim Norton, who's a legend.
Took pictures in front of it.
Oh man, what a cool day! New York is such a magical place, and such an amazing place for music. And shout out to ROI Parker, who made a comment, and he said something about that Cemetery Number 1. The other thing is that Cemetery Number 1 is in some Stones covers. Yeah, back to NOLA. He posted that. Thank you. I can't wait to go. I'm hoping I can go back to NOLA in December. We're aiming for that. But there's some Stones pictures where like Jagger's drunk, passed out on top of one of these giant crypts on a big statue that he's like laying in its lap. And there's just so much incredible stuff in NOLA too. But yeah, New York, when we got to meet in real life, I can't believe I got to meet Al, and I hope to meet everybody in real life. I love you guys. I have such a good time on the show. Like, it's just such a fun thing to do. And
and Kate, just to let you know, I've been using your joke that what is it? That what's his name is like the white. It's Oprah for white guys.
Joe Rogan's Oprah for white dudes.
I love it.
That was a great one. Man.
Thank you. Yeah. Oh my God. I can't wait to do it again. I'm so excited. I'm really lucky Detroit has like a really cool comedy scene going now, and there's quite a few places that do open mics. So I'm gonna keep it up. That's
what you gotta do. You just gotta keep doing it.
I'm gonna keep doing it. I'm
keep honing your craft and you know,
I can't believe how lucky I got to do well, and I was absolutely terrified. I have such a fear of public speaking, and let alone being on stage alone and trying to be funny. I probably had 10 minutes of material, and I got the light. Like, they light you at 6 minutes to tell you have a minute left, and the time goes by so fast when you're like scared. Either you're dying and it goes by incredibly slow, or it goes by fast because it was going okay. And I skipped like 4 of my jokes, so I still have quite a bit of material that I didn't even say.
Awesome.
I can't wait to send you guys the professional recording of it. And that club that's Mark Ridley's Comedy Castle in Royal Oak. And when you walk around, that's the club in Detroit. I mean, in Michigan,
wow.
That is the comedy club. Mark Ridley's been around for 1,000,000 years. And everyone famous that you could imagine comedian is on that wall in that hallway. Every picture, portrait, or them with Mark Ridley. And oh my God, I could have cried. I was so happy. I don't know. I still feel insane about it.
Congratulations. We love you.
Thank you. I love you guys so much. I really appreciate all the support and yeah. Oh man.
Please keep it up because you got all our support.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining me, Al and Joe. I will see you all on Wednesday.
Yes.
Have a happy
Happy Halloween, you guys. Have a great episode Wednesday.
And thank you so much for Mark Alden Taylor saying we rule. Well, so do you.
Howdy, Mark. Love you, man.
I'm gonna go out and create some mischief now. So have a great night.
Take it easy, you guys. Thanks for having me, Andy.
Oh yeah, of course. Anytime, Kate. Thanks for saying that. Bye, Joe.
Take care.
Guys.
Bye, y'all.